45, by the way. Getting close to 50.
Ah,
I feel like we gotta do
I
something
need
special for 50 too, because that's a year. You know?
Yeah,
Oh, that's true.
I want to work on something, but I don't want to work on that at the same
Honestly,
time. I'm so
the
lazy.
eternal struggle. The eternal struggle.
I'll think about it. I've got until
Got 2
5. I've
weeks.
got until episode 47 to start working on.
That's true.
If I
Yeah,
don't-
yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, 52.
if I don't-
That's a long time.
Yeah, if I don't start something by episode 47, I'm not doing it.
Ah,
Especially
Because I
because
need-
uni could be a thing, yeah.
Yeah, because I need a
Understandable.
month to prepare for it. So
yeah.
yeah. But if that idea doesn't go through, then I'll pick something else to do.
Fair, fair, fair. Yeah, how you guys doing this week? Any highlights this week you want to share?
No, that's all.
Anything in particular?
Yeah, it's anything, any highlight you wanted to like be like, I want to talk about this, or something cool, interesting happened.
I guess interesting things happened to me yesterday, but they're not also related, so I don't know.
That's fine. I don't care.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't mind either. I just can't think of anything I did that was particularly interesting this week.
Okay, so I guess yesterday was a really, really, really wild ride.
Okay.
So I also plan on going for Punishing Grey Raven.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
yeah.
It was one of my favorite characters' birthdays.
Ah.
So we're all waiting for the content from the Chinese social media to drop. So the first thing so usually they put up commemoration art for the birthday, and they put up a small message for the character as well. So in the message, you're on a dinner date with the character.
Oh,
cool.
okay.
And then in the video, I think for like you're doing some kind of play, and then the scene that's reenacted is a scene that's heavily inspired by Romeo and Juliet, Act 2, Scene 2. So for those of you who don't know who Act 2, Scene 2 is, it's the play with it's the scene with Juliet like standing on her balcony, and she's like, oh Romeo, where art thou, Romeo?
Yeah.
And Romeo's like standing with except it's he kisses your hand in the video.
Oh. Wait, that's not actually a fan service. What the heck?
Yeah.
Genshin, get on this. Elsa, get on this.
And there's also that and also like this cutscene is also fully voiced. So
Wow, they really put a lot of effort into the character birthday.
yeah.
What the heck?
I think it's just one thing that PTR's taught me. It's that sometimes quantity is not everything. Sometimes it's about the quality. So like even though like they have more waifu content, it's like the guys get the guy content is like just as good in this game, which is amazing.
Wait, how many characters does Punishing Grey Raven have more characters than Genshin?
Do you mean in terms of like unique characters or like?
Oh, do they have forms or something?
Unique characters.
Yeah, because they have different forms.
Yeah.
So
unique characters.
Oh, Genshin definitely has more.
Oh, okay, makes sense.
Yeah, because there's some characters that have like lots of forms, like yeah. And then not only that, but yes. So yesterday, so Chrome's Chinese voice actor is the single largest he's the single largest reason why I play this game exclusively with Chinese voice acting. Anyway, so video gets posted, and then everyone goes wild. And then on Twitter, someone reposted a video, which is like, I don't know. It seems that reposting videos is it's a normal thing apparently. But I guess it's official. I guess because it's an official video, it's not as bad. Anyway, someone reposts it, and then this person tags the voice actor.
Yeah.
On Twitter, and then I'm like, wow, like thank you for like tagging him and posting his like advertising social media. Everyone should appreciate him. And then he responds.
Oh really?
Yeah, he responded to me.
To you?
Yeah.
Yo, that's sick. What the heck?
I was like,
that's awesome.
And I guess the thing is that he's he's Chinese.
Okay.
Obviously, and he responds to me using obviously Actually, not even obviously machine because he does have some English skills, but yeah, he responds to like, and it's not because I spoke in English. Like he responded to me in English, and then I was like, holy shit. He also responded to the person who tagged him in Chinese because the person who responded to him is Chinese. Well, the person who tagged him is Chinese, so they're like, okay, so he's talking Chinese. And then obviously because I don't have Chinese because usually in Twitter or whenever people are fluent in multiple languages, they say like, here are the languages I am okay and I'm okay with communicating it, and like, and inside I'm like, on one hand, like I'm so embarrassed that like the only post he sees of me is me practically fangirling about him. And then on the other hand, there's also that he responded to me in English when I am completely capable of understanding his mother language, which is Chinese.
Yeah.
So
I didn't know that.
Because did you fangirl in English and he just
I fangirled in English.
Yeah,
I fangirled in English, and then he said thank you in English.
Yeah. Makes sense because like they wanna. Yeah, they just assume what the language you speak based on the language you comment in. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Dude,
But
I
yeah.
remember.
This was so.
That's so sick. That sounds so awesome.
Speaking of voice actors in Chinese, actually, the funny thing is, did you know most of Genshin Impact Chinese voice actors, they're all actually big streamers that got recruited.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
cool.
I think that's probably why they were able to do that fan song, you know, with Venti, Xiao, Klee.
Xiaoen. Does Xiaoen actually stream? What? Let me check.
Yeah. What's his code again? Kinsen. Yeah, his streamer name.
Kinsen does.
Yeah,
Kinsen does work on it,
yeah, his streamer name is Kinsen. They stream. A lot of them are big streamers, like the voice actors. This was brought up because you know how Lily Pichu voice acts Sayu in Genshin Impact now.
Yeah.
She got a lot of criticism from fans saying that she only got chosen because she's a big streamer. But then
she posted it. She posted and said that actually the director had no idea who she was.
Yeah. They were just like,
Really, that's funny.
I didn't even know who you were, and then she was like, "That's the most uplifting thing I've ever been told today." Yeah, and that was when someone commented that, like they complained about Lily being a streamer when most of the Chinese Genshin voice actors are streamers as well, big streamers.
Well, actually, yeah, because Dodo did a fair amount of content, like in general.
Yeah.
Fun fact. Dodo also has a role in Punishing Grey Raven. She's a character in the Protag group.
Wow.
Liv. Xiaoen, who is Xiangling's voice actor, is also. She plays like the lead character.
Oh, really?
She's the cap. Yeah, she plays Lucia. Lucia's the captain of the Protag team.
Okay, so I don't know much about Chinese voice actors since obviously I don't watch many things in Chinese dub and don't play much things in Chinese dub. But like, I feel like right now if I were to pick a voice actor to simp for, it'd be Pumbo, Zhongli's voice actor.
Oh, Pumbo, yeah.
He did something recently. I forgot what it was.
Is it the humming to Barbara's tune?
No, he did something on like a stream or something like that. I forget what. He C6'd Ayaka. He C6'd Ayaka.
Wow! Wait,
because he was unlucky. Yeah, he was unlucky with like another banner, and he was just like, okay, people were making fun of me for the last banner, so now I'll show them. And he C6'd Ayaka. Yeah, I remember that. Seeing that on Twitter. I just saw it on Twitter. I don't know if I can find it again. But it was his personal Twitter, just him posting just C6 Ayaka with her on little constellations.
He has a personal Twitter, but I thought he was in China.
Yeah, some Chinese people have Twitter. Yeah, some Chinese people have Twitter, yeah. I follow a fair amount of Chinese.
Or if it might have just been a translator translating some message that he put in, like, I don't know, like a Billy or something like that.
Okay.
But yeah,
okay, fair.
It was definitely it was Gongli's VA, and he was just bragging about C6 Ayaka that he got.
Okay. Fair. I think, actually, in regards to Punishing Grey Raven, the first time I heard of Punishing Grey Raven was when I was playing Honkai Impact at the time, and like I saw gameplay. Yeah, I saw gameplay of Punishing Grey Raven. I'm like, is this? Because I think there's a character in Honkai called Raven as well, right? So I thought Punishing Grey Raven. I'm just like, is this Honkai Impact? Because like the gameplay,
It does
the
look very
gameplay
much like
looks a little
Honkai.
bit similar. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
the
then-
game is actually very similar.
Yeah. But then like it's just the difference is the UI is very different, and a lot of the effects is very different. It's still a lot like there's still a lot of differences in some ways. So I was very confused. I'm like, why does this look like Honkai but not look like Honkai at the same time?
Yeah.
And it also had the name Punishing Grey Raven, so I thought like, is this a chapter in Honkai Impact? Or, like, what is this? I searched it up, couldn't find any Honkai Impact related stuff to it. I'm like, and then I realized it occurred to me, oh, it's a different game. Yeah, I was very interested in it because like it had the name Raven in the title. I'm like, I feel obligated to check it out, but in the end, I never did check it out because I was like,
okay.
Yeah.
It recently got a international release.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. I think that's why it suddenly gained such a big, huge popularity. I found the game like I think last year. It has to be last year because that's when I started playing Honkai. It was like it's been a year since I heard about it, but I never played it because it was like just like typically I have really bad consistency when it comes to phone game. I'm like, oh, if I'm just gonna like end up not playing it, I might as well just not bother trying.
Oh yeah, I was gonna. Is that game mobile only? Even the international.
You can get it. I don't know about global. Oh no, not global.
Okay.
Okay.
I know the Chinese. I know the Chinese server has official emulator support.
Wow.
Yeah, they specifically recommend Mumu. Like if you're gonna play the game on an emulator. I don't know whether global has the same official emulator support, but I imagine not because Mumu is also China. I mean, Mumu has the global.
Maybe in the future.
Yeah, Mumu has a global version, but it's also a Chinese emulator. So
What the?
Oh.
What? This man's under the platform. I'm sorry. Herb was just chilling down there. I don't know if you saw that.
the gameplay, it's honestly better on phone. Actually, I was told the opposite. Like I was told it was better on emulator, and I think, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I've never played this on phone, and I can't. But
so with my experience with Honkai Impact is the similar in the aspect that you can play it on a PC client or a phone client, but you can't connect the two. You can't link your accounts on them.
Oh, okay.
It's I feel like it's ultimately like phone or PC. It's up to preferences.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because like for example on PC I think it might depend on the controls of the game as well. Because on Honkai Impact on the PC client, like if you're using keyboard to play, it gets really weird controlling the camera angle and fighting at the same time.
Oh yeah.
Because because I think because you don't actually use your mouse on the Honkai Impact PC. Yeah, so you controlling, so you move around with arrows keys, then you use Q and E to control the angle of the camera while you're fighting. So this was like really weird and really like weird to control. So unless you're playing with a controller on PC, it feels very jank to control.
Definitely the biggest advantage phone has over PC is that you can change it's a lot easier to change target selection. And especially in PGR, I know like the camera and the target selection is like really jank.
Yeah, actually, speaking of target selection, I freaking hate Genshin Impact's target selection.
I mean, it's auto lock, yeah.
Yeah, it's auto lock, and I'm just like, I want Zonli to aim these two samurais and kill them in one hit. Zonli goes and aims a little freaking small fries, and I'm like, what are you doing, Zonli?
Oh yeah, no, it's the worst on Venti too, because like you want to aim in the middle of a group, and then Venti will just aim to the left of the group, so it's just like, well, this is your life now. Nothing you can do.
Yeah, I think like with Venti, you kind of have to like shoot the ult before they all come out, and you have to shoot the ult and then press F to like optimal. But sometimes they don't spawn in the place that they like in the middle area, and it sucks. But Oh
man, there's maybe we should read that maybe on this podcast. There's a thing someone did on Reddit where they posted all the jank in Genshin that they like will hope will get fixed. Maybe we can pull that up at some point. I think that'd be a fun read.
What is it? What are the things that players want to?
Just like jank in the gameplay that just still hasn't been addressed. Like I was reading it the other day and I was like, this is actually a pretty good read.
Okay. Send me a link. I'm very curious as well because I feel like surely the auto lock function must be one.
Yeah, that was one of them. That was obviously one of the top ones that they listed there.
Yeah. Wait, actually speaking of Sky, do you play Genshin like as much as you used to, or are you as devoted to Genshin after like as much?
I don't know. I think I've been hitting a bit of a slump lately.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you've been playing. I've noticed that you've been playing more Punishing Grey Raven. I think recently.
Yeah, I think I just
Is it because Chrome is just a better husband?
I don't know.
Are you cheating on child and Zhongli?
I mean, like,
Oh my gosh.
I mean, like, there's a how do I say it? Because Punisher Grey Raven is like the player character is a self-insert, whereas
Okay.
yeah, whereas in Genshin it's a like
Yeah. Aether is his own
Yeah.
character, and Lumine.
Yeah,
Aether and Lumine
yeah.
are their own characters. For sure.
Yeah, I mean that in itself is, I mean that in itself is like nice and all. I mean personally, when I prefer to play, I mean usually whenever I play games, I prefer like to be your own character. Like I don't want to be a self-insert a lot of the time. But I feel like another reason why I could be so attached to. Actually, why did I get so attached to them anyway? That would be something to think about a bit.
It's okay. You can think about it, and then you can come back with an answer next week or something. Anyway. Understandable though.
Yeah.
It's kind of like me going, oh yeah. Someone asks me, why do you like Raven? I go, well, and then I pause and I go, wait, why do I like him?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
you just like him, you know?
That's just me with like so many of my favorite characters actually. Like it's all like if they're my second favorite, I can go on and on and on and on about them. But like if they're my first favorite, I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why do I like them?
Yeah, why do I like this person over my second favorite? Huh?
Yeah, and you think, like, do I actually like them? Like.
Nah, yeah. Hey, we don't need a reason to like something. It's fine. We just like whatever we want to like.
And
what
else is there? I feel like there's also that Punishing Grey Raven is more fast paced, and I think I like that better. Than,
yeah.
In that aspect, I think I like that better than Genshin.
Actually, yeah, a lot of people. I think a lot of people actually. For example, the first MiHoYo game they played was Genshin Impact, but obviously that everyone knows about Honkai Impact. So then, what people do when they do go from Genshin to Honkai and try out Honkai, a lot of people do actually like Honkai's gameplay more than Genshin.
Oh really? More?
Yeah, because it's so fast paced. It's like
Genshin feels. I don't know. I mean, for me, like sometimes I don't mind. I mean, I don't mind that it's slow sometimes. I think for me, like the main thing I need to get used to is the fact because now in Honkai. I imagine this would be the case in Honkai too, but you know when you dodge, like you're invincible while you dodge, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You have a bit of an iframe, yeah.
Yeah, and then when I move from from Punishing Grey Raven to Genshin, then I dodge and I expect to not take damage, but then I take damage.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
oh. So in Honkai Impact, there's something called like the time fracture. I think it's called time.
Yeah, what is it? The witch. I've seen that. The witch time. Essentially.
The time. Yeah. So pretty much it's just like if you dodge, you get a slow mo and you get a counter attack opportunity.
Yeah.
In Genshin, they do have an iframe for when you dodge.
Yeah,
right?
initially dash. It's just the
It's
initial.
very tight. It's very tight frame, and it's just like. And you don't get sometimes I get the same where like I dodge and I'm just like, wait, where's my time freeze? Where's my time freeze?
They call it Matrix mode in global. Oh my god.
Oh.
It's called
Matrix mode.
That's a localized name. What's the original name in Chinese? I think the original name in Chinese is supercomputing space.
Okay. That's very English. So I'm surprised that they changed that.
Yeah.
That's actually Matrix. The Matrix.
Yeah, but it's like the long. But then because Chinese is an incredibly concise language compared to English, it's like they can pull this crap and it'll adhere to their character.
Yeah. Dude, speaking of like Chinese translations, etc., recently, about 2 weeks ago, so I came across a Chile visual novel fan made with multiple.
Oh yeah. You did tell me about this. Yeah.
But the thing is, the game was in Chinese, so then they were like, "Oh, unfortunately, there's no Chinese version, but we're looking for English translators." So I'm like, "Get me in on this shit!" So I was in. So it's been 2 weeks since I've started. I've finished translating my part, and I'm just helping out with the rest of the stuff because there's nothing else for me to do. But like, it's that time of this. Like, this is my first time ever translating like for like something big, a big project kind of translation. And then it's time like this is where I realized, dang. Man, Chinese really just compacts a lot of meaning into like one tiny ass sentence. Because I'm translating and I'm taking up 2 lines where this line it's a 1 line, and I'm taking up 2 lines if I want to accurately, like literally translate it. And I'm just like, this is ridiculous. Thankfully, though, I asked the like the moderators, and I was just like, hey, is it okay if I just like change the structure and structure of the sentence, but keep the original meaning? And they're like, oh yeah, it's fine. And thankfully because of that, I was able to get a bit more fluency in the translations. Because otherwise, it's a bit dodgy.
That's pretty much one of the first tricks that you learn well, at least like when I was starting out my translation journey, I wasn't really translating. I was more like I was an English proofreader, so I like go through. So basically, like, after the translation is done, like I go through like the English and smooth out the English to make it sound more natural English.
Yeah.
And then, but changing sentence structure is like a really nice. I'd only say to keep sentence structure as the original if the original has like a jank sentence structure that is there for like a certain effect. If it makes any sense. So
yeah.
But then the thing is, like, you have to be good enough in Chinese to know when that happens. So sometimes I don't, and then I'm like, oh.
Yeah, fair. I think it's just like, okay. Yeah, because I was also doing a little bit of proofreading for others, but I think generally, other than like them getting like unsure as to which English term like version they should use,
wait, which English version?
Like, since for example, whether to say do you hear something or someone, like for example, like there are different synonyms for the same word, like kind of thing. They're not sure.
Those, yeah. Oh my god, those are so bad. Oh my god, like sometimes, like you know the worst thing is like sometimes when you have.
Wait, hello?
Oh no, Sky got.
Sky!
Hello?
Ah! Sky! We'll never know what she was gonna say! No, Sky! Sky died.
Alright,
okay.
that's unfortunate.
But the translators I work with are really good at doing their job, and I'm like, I wish my uni group work were as good as this kind of thing. But yeah, I was gonna tell Sky that like the inferences you can get from like the Chinese, like when you're translating, there's so many different inferences. There was a point where like I was translating this one sentence, but I didn't understand, like, so I was reading it. My first read, I was like, oh, he's talking about this, it's understandable. But then I read the next line, and then the context is completely different to what I was expecting, and I got super confused, and I'm like, wait, that means I translated the previous line wrong, because if this is the context, then I translated the previous line. So I was like really confused. There was two different like subtleties to the translation that could occur out of this line. So I went into the group chat, and I'm just like, yo guys, is Chad asking if people call him Zhongli, or is he asking if people call him Mr. Zhongli? And then I got like, there was like a bunch of people discussing. I was so confused, and then someone came up with a whole third meaning, like a completely different third meaning. And I'm just like, guys, I asked help narrowing my options, not adding options to our translations. And then the moderator, they were just like, just translate it as it is. Who cares? Who cares about what it's inferring to? And I'm like, god dang, okay. I think that's the one thing about fan translations, where it's obviously not going to be that accurate, and people are going to be very lenient with a lot of translations. For example, instead of calling him Mr. Zhongli as his the honorifics would translate to from that Chinese word, they wanted to leave the honorifics as is. So it'd be like saying calling Meteor like, instead of saying Mr. Meteor, I go say, oh, Meteor Kun, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's weird.
But in Chinese version, yeah.
That's I don't know. That one's weird in context of what we have in the sub of Genshin. Like, yeah,
exactly.
What is it? Like in Persona 5, since it takes place in Japan, they still use honorifics even in the dub. But in Genshin Impact, they translate honorifics to the English translations.
Yeah. Like if we call Zhongli Xiansheng, it'd be translated to Mr. But they wanted me to translate it so that we just keep the Xiansheng, the raw like base form, which is also interesting because you know how everyone below child, they call him 君子大人, which 大人 is the honorific they use for child, which means master. But Zhongli, I don't think Zhongli. I'm not sure about Zhongli in the Chinese. I don't think Zhongli in Chinese. Oh no, I checked this. Zhongli in Chinese doesn't actually call child 大人. He just calls him child. He just calls him child. And then the translator said, "Oh, make it so that Zhongli calls child master as well." And I'm like, that's kind of okay. That's
Oh, welcome back.
weird
Okay, I really want to hear
back,
Sky's thoughts about this.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
So the one gripe I have with the translating team I work with is that when they talk about honorifics, they want me to translate it in its raw form, like not change it to like, for example, if it's 中理先生, they want me to say they keep it as 先生. They don't, exactly. Which I felt weird. And the other thing was child. Obviously all of child's subordinate call him 大人, right? 君子大人. And in the game, Zhongli doesn't call child 君子大人. He just calls child. Yeah, but then the people who worked on the original game, they were just like, oh, keep it as his, and make it so that Zhongli calls child master as well in the translation. Yeah, but the funny thing is, in the actual in the game, in the fan-made translation, Zhongli actually calls child 先生, like in the original writing of the game, the script. Yeah, and I'm just like, that's not master, that's mister. And I got really confused, but they were just like, no, just make it so that everyone calls child master and everyone calls Zhongli mister. And I'm like, okay. But get this, there's also the inconsistency where master child gets translated like 君子大人 gets translated to master. But if we're talking about Zhongli, Mr. Zhongli, it doesn't get translated into Mr. Zhongli, it's just Chinese, 中理先生, which is so there's that inconsistency where child's honorific gets translated to English and Zhongli's honorific does not get translated to English. And I'm just like, well, I can't really go against the creators. I guess the creators so I'm just like, okay, I guess I'll listen to them then. But obviously I can't help but rant that is one of the gripes I have, and pet peeve I have with the translation thing I'm doing.
Yeah, I would. Oh god. I mean, for me, I don't like to. I mean, I'll admit that while translating for that, like different, I can kind of one-to-one translate tend not to convey tone as well. Sadly, yeah, that's true. But because like it's one of those like. Sorry, give me a second.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, one-to-one translation. Yeah, it is hard for it to translate tone. I try to do it as best as possible, which is why that time where I did get a line that had that could infer two different meanings, I was super confused and I really wanted to double check with everyone, but everyone else was also super confused. So we ended up just translating in its raw and hope that it works. I mean, it probably would work, but it doesn't have the influences it has as much as in the Chinese line on its own.
Okay, sorry, I'm back.
Welcome back.
I guess this kind of leads onto that balance between literal and liberal.
Yeah.
And obviously everyone's opinion on this is different. I'll admit that mine has changed a lot over time, considering that was because as someone who works a lot with people who aren't afraid to go liberal, or at least go a bit liberal. I guess my opinion has changed a lot regarding that, but I think this is why I believe even if I studied translation, I don't think I would ever want to be, and I don't think I'd ever want to be an official translator or anything, because then that means that I have free reign over my own work. Like, say for example, I make a fan translation, I can do whatever I want.
Oh, okay,
right? Yeah. I can be as chaotic or as or as liberal as literal. I can do whatever I want, basically.
Yeah.
So in this case, I think obviously you have to adhere to. Obviously, even though you don't agree with it, you have to adhere with the creators, especially because it's their creation. That's something again, they're the creators. That's something you always have to respect, and you're just there to convey the message. You're the messenger, basically, and therefore you should try and do that as faithfully as possible. Although whether you did it faithfully at all is up to debate. But
Kitty says, I heard from someone that Bal's ending line was different in the Chinese version versus the North American one. The thing about next time I will strike twice. Oh, I think I remember.
The version, yeah.
I haven't seen that one actually.
I could check it up now, but I feel like I did remember someone pointing it out, but I don't think I ever listened to the line myself, so I'll have to check it out.
What is it?
But
Genshin has that sometimes too, because Genshin had that in Leah Part 2 with Child's mention about involving weak people in fights.
Yeah,
that was probably like the most egregious kind of like variation of that.
Yeah.
I forget if you got. I don't know if y'all remember, but I forget the actual lines. I don't know if y'all remember the lines.
It was something about Child saying like he doesn't like he thinks
doesn't like involving weak people.
Yeah,
so
that was the
Chinese,
original translation. He doesn't like involving
in Chinese
weak people.
he says he doesn't want to involve weak people, but in English what he said is he acts more like cold-hearted. He just said, "Oh, the weak will die." He's something like that.
Like
the weak will die.
Yeah. Which you know, like what is it? I think changing lines so that they make sense but obtain their original meaning, I think is the most important thing. Like that one definitely like changes the meaning. Like like what is it? If they change the line from let's say for example, because obviously neither of us know, or none of us know here. But if they change the line from like next time I'll strike twice. If the original version was something different, but it was still saying her being like, "Oh, next time I'll have my revenge." Essentially, if that meaning is still kept, I think that line is fine. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like yeah, let me say that. Let me say that again. Like okay.
I have some as someone who likes to be literal, I have some disagree. I slightly like I.
Well, yeah. I mean, like it definitely depends on what the line is, but like if the line is like very like English and like doesn't really make sense, I think it's fine to change it.
What did you say again? What did you say?
He says next. So, when the traveler escapes and all that, she's just like, next time I'll strike twice. Essentially, that's pretty much I'll have my revenge.
Yeah.
That's what she's saying.
Sorry, I was watching it right now and I was listening to it in Chinese. Actually, what she said is like, so instead of saying striking twice, she actually says that next time I will strike again. I think she was like, yeah.
So they took it seems like what they did is like they kept the original meaning, but now they have this kind of double meaning as well because she's the Electro Archon. So now they have that double meaning of like, oh, lightning strikes twice and everything like that. I think that's fine. I mean, you know, like because I think the original meaning is there, so I think that's the important part. And I just think them adding a little bit like extra like that, I don't think necessarily harms anything.
I don't know if they add a little bit extra, only if it's canon, then I wouldn't mind. If they add the extra and then the original like writers and story writers, they're just like, wait, that's going off against our canon idea. Like it derails a bit. It becomes a bit more canon. Then I think that would be an issue. But
I think that'd be it. Like I think comparing these two is like really nice because I think the child instance it doesn't work because it changes like pretty much the emotion. But I think here it just kind of adds a little bit that just kind of wasn't there.
With the ride and okay, I see what
but
you mean,
the essential meaning of what they're both saying is the same thing with the Raiden example.
Yeah. Like Curious thought the NA version was clever because it has the pun based on the idea that where lightning never strikes the same place twice. So I can understand. Yeah, you know what? Okay, so that I guess I'm a bit more okay with because it's not a huge issue. It's it's not really a huge.
And again, the original meaning is still there.
Yeah. Because
she's saying she'll have her revenge. That's essentially what you're saying.
Yeah. Because if she said the exact same thing where next time I will strike twice. Yeah, I'll strike twice. Like in how it was translated in English, it sounds kind of weird in Chinese. Where like 下次我啃两次. It sounds like
because it's an English phrase essentially. Yeah.
It sounds very like simplified. Like what they have right now in Chinese is I think the way they translate it in English, I'm fine with it. But I do agree that Genshin translations can be quite liberal.
They can be hit or miss.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think official localizations have to be literal because you are bringing. Because obviously, like, embedded in every language is the culture behind that language, and because you are essentially marketing to an audience that potentially knows nothing about the original language, your work then has to be able to read like it was originally. Like your work shouldn't read like. I think I read somewhere that like a localization is done well if it doesn't sound like a localization, and if it sounds so like if it doesn't sound like a translation.
Yeah, actually, a lot of I gotta like, despite Genshin taking liberty with a lot of the translations, there are a lot of like English translations where, like, for example, they translate poems and they somehow retain the meaning while also keeping the
like
rhyme, and I'm just like, how? Like,
whoa, some big brain.
yeah, I think specifically with Venti's, like, I think it's the first few trailers of Venti where he was rhyming and still conveying the same message, and I'm like, how do they do this? How do they translate this? Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, like holy crap! Like especially because Chinese rhymes, like especially in songs and stuff, like almost all Chinese songs have like a ridiculous amount of rhyme. Or like Chinese poems in general, they all have all of it. It just rhymes. Like, and despite the fact, like, and also there's also that in Chinese, like, you know, usually you have 3 layers in Chinese poetry. At least you usually have 3 layers of meaning. You have like the literal, the metaphorical, and you have the symbolic.
Yeah.
I think you have to somehow be able to get all 3 of those layers of meaning across in English as well, and you have to make it rhyme at the same time.
Yeah.
And then to be able to successfully do that is just mind-blowing.
I'm just like, that's insane. Like, I was like, kudos to them for being able to translate that. That's like respect. But speaking of when you were saying how like the language has like it kind of conveys their own culture as well, I think especially in the case where Aether and Lumine's relationship, I feel like if you played in English only and all the game in English, you'd never know that Aether is older than Lumine. Because I think in Chinese there is a time, because Lumine does address Aether as like big brother.
Big brother.
Yeah, but I feel like in English,
in English it just goes brother.
Yeah. Because that's not really aside from like big brother, like little sister, etc., which you don't say it too often if they're so similar in age.
In English it's typically just brother sister kind of thing.
Yeah, especially because in Chinese there's actually no I don't think there's actually a way to address your siblings without saying whether they're older or younger than you.
Yeah.
Like it's just Gogo and Didi, which is like so Gogo is an older brother, Didi is younger brother. Like
otherwise you say what the Xiongdi, which is like really weird if you address your sibling as my sibling in Chinese. Yeah.
Because things like Xiongdi is usually used in the sense of like I don't know, like say with your friend, like you say you're with your best friend and you're like Xiongdi, like.
Yeah, like
that. With the whole Xiongdi referring to your best friend, like you don't.
Yeah, like if someone asks you, it's like, who's this person? You don't go, they're my Xiongdi.
No. Really weird. Yeah, you don't say you're Xiongdi.
I feel like so. I think because I think it's like that idea where like when you're addressing your sibling, you gotta have some sort of like it doubles as an honorific kind of thing, where like out of respect, you don't just call them by their title kind of thing. You kind of just gotta call them by their relationship to you kind of thing.
Like for example, like I know whenever my mom when my mom talks to my sister about me, she doesn't in Chinese she doesn't refer to me by my name. Actually, she refers to me as 姐姐. Yeah. So, yeah, I imagine your parents would do the same thing.
Yeah. So I think it's just like the difference with especially with the languages, like the difference in like cultures between the 2 languages.
And I guess another thing is, I think a really famous example would just be Zhongli, like just everything about him.
Yeah. True. Yeah.
Zhongli.
I feel bad for the people who have to translate Zhongli's lines in the visual novel because
like it's so hard.
Yeah, I saw one person just be like, "Holy shit! I finally finished translating Zhongli's freaking rant. Not rant, like his monologue. He just started monologuing. Even though Child is right saying about something
right there.
and I'm just like, I'm so glad I didn't pick your part.
Yeah, it's only. And not only is he difficult to translate. I mean, he's translated not only because like he's legitimately hard to understand, but there's also that you need to somehow like transfer all that culture and all that like stuff in Chinese into English, which probably doesn't work the majority of the time.
I feel like so for a lot of I assume for a lot of native Chinese speakers, they probably listen to Zhongli in Chinese, be like, "Huh? What is this guy? What is this old man going on about? What the heck?"
I hope so too.
And he starts, the old man's talking again. Oh no, time to zone out.
Actually, I kind of wonder what the Chinese community's reaction to Zhongli is, because I know, like in Ensemble Stars at least, when people are like, because so for those who don't know, Ensemble Stars is a Japanese idol. Is a Japanese game about male high school idols, and it is especially, and I think I guess within like the English like Japanese community, it's an especially notorious game to translate because like it's just so difficult. Like native Japanese speakers have trouble like reading this. That's how hard it is.
Oh,
So then whenever people are like, "This is difficult to translate," and everyone else is like, "It's okay, bro." Even natives have trouble
like,
understanding.
Oh, Gled says I actually didn't find Zhongli hard to understand in Chinese. Okay, Gled's probably like native, like really good Chinese kind of thing. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it's plebs.
Maybe it's because like maybe it's because I just didn't study Chinese for hard enough or something. But like
yeah,
a lot of the vocabulary Zhongli uses, I'm just like
it's very archaic.
Yeah, I'm just like
you don't know it. It's like good luck.
What are you talking about, Sol? And I'm just like. Or maybe it's just because I was playing Genshin with even though I was playing with Chinese sub, I was still reading the English sub, and like obviously the translation in English sub, there's a lot of words a lot of like Dongli's phrases they translate English and the vocab he used, and I'm just like, what the fuck does this mean in English? Wait, what is this word? Like even in English, I read the English, I'm like, what?
Even in English, it's like what?
Yeah, I'm just like, I've never seen this word before, so I'm like playing Genshin, I'm like, what is this English word? And I go search it up, and I'm like. I've never heard of this before.
Oh wait, dude. Speaking of stuff translating and being difficult to understand and everything, do you know so Shakespeare in different languages, like Shakespeare in non-English, like Shakespeare in non-English is significantly easier to translate than actual English Shakespeare, in my opinion. Because
Shakespeare in what?
Shakespeare in not English. Like say for example, if you were to read like a Shakespeare play translated to Chinese. I promise you, it is significantly easier to understand in like not English than it is in English.
Oh.
Because in Chinese and stuff, because they actually translate the meanings.
Oh.
Whereas in English, you have to navigate through all like all these like metaphors and old English and shit.
Yeah.
And then it's like,
I mean, the probably makes sense. They probably like in the way that they translate that, they probably like get rid of like kind of like the extra fluff and more say it how it is.
Yeah, because like it's like borderline impossible, if not impossible, to translate. Like, I mean, like, yes, you can translate archaic English to an it's not really archaic English. It's more like old English that they use like 300 years ago.
Yeah, art thou like.
Yeah, like for example, like if they were to translate Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo, it's probably going to be like, I don't know, like they probably translate it as like Romeo, where are you Romeo? It's probably
where are you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I never.
In Chinese
Yeah, I never read Shakespeare in Chinese, but
I had to translate it for a character because the character quotes Shakespeare, and I'm like, why? I mean, it makes my job easy because then I can just copy paste the Shakespeare, but then I'm like, but why?
Because this Chinese fluff makes no sense.
I guess I don't know.
Okay, I agree.
Then again, fluff in general, Shakespeare fluff is like, where are the first of all, it's hard to read, like, and then second of all, it's just like then you have to infer the meanings out of it. I'm just like,
But I say whenever I was in high school, our books always had the translations on the right, like, or what the meanings were on the right page. Y'all never had that? Yeah.
No.
Wow, what the heck? Yeah, no. Whenever I read any Shakespeare in high school, it was like the page was on one side, and on the reverse side was what some of the more complicated words meant.
Like modern English.
No, we had to make our own inferences, so we were just
really? That sounds
we had to
annoying.
and then when we like read through it, the teacher's like, okay guys, so what do you think this part means? And then blah blah blah, and then we like give our suggestions, and then teacher, okay, so it means X, Y, and Z. Then the teacher's like, okay, so it means X, Y, and Z, but can you guess why Shakespeare wrote it like this? Because ABC reasons.
We had that part too, but instead of like what we think, it's like, oh, this is how it is, and like, why did you think this is how it is, essentially. So that first part we definitely didn't have.
Oh yeah, if anything, the only thing I learned out of like freaking English studies and reading about poems written by the freaking authors is just fruit equals virginity, flower equals deflowering equals losing
okay, no, we didn't go into all of that. We mostly just talked about like the plot points and like what it meant for the story.
This is a different
really?
different poem. This is a different poem.
Okay. Because like
what's the name?
Poetry,
Yeah.
Okay.
It's for poetry, but I'm like, oh god, actually.
Cause you like, but yeah, we mostly like whenever I applied it in school, it was mostly just like, okay, we're like, what are these characters doing in the situation, etc., etc., and like you know, what does this mean in the greater scheme of things, I guess. But it never went to like, oh, fruit means like virginity or things like that. I don't think it ever went there.
Direct.
Yeah, it was
direct.
yeah. Cause
interesting. Okay.
like one of the most interesting things like I could think of, like the most kind of detailed thing is, have you guys ever read Hamlet?
Yes. Yeah.
No, unfortunately
yeah.
not.
Okay.
I did not study that.
One I remember, I forget what the character's name is. But like one of the biggest
Hamlet.
things, yeah, not Hamlet himself. I think it was like one of his friends. Like the teacher was just like, oh, he's supposed to be like the audience essentially. Like he's supposed to be like a stand-in for the audience. And I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. But that's like the kind of like, the deepest level we went.
Wait,
I forget who it is. I forget who it is.
Wait, so they just spoon feed it? So they just give you the information straight up? Wow.
Well, they didn't
Because
really. Yeah. Sometimes
Kind of.
not. Sometimes not. Yeah, it just depended.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I think in my classes, like almost everything we had to like find. If it makes any sense, like there were activities that the teacher said that would kind of like guide us to the part where we find the meaning, and then he kind of like, and then whenever we got it wrong, like he'd like correct us. But then it's kind of like a, I don't know, like he's like, okay, here's this passage, like here are some questions to guide your thinking, and then eventually you're supposed to come to the conclusion that X, Y, Z, and then
yeah,
that was the majority of my English. That was the vast majority of my English classes.
Because like,
Okay.
Go
One
ahead.
yeah. No. I was gonna say one thing that I found ironic about like English is I was like, you know how English is it's all meant to be subjective. Yet for some reason, when we're trying to like analyze the meaning behind each line of the poem, they said, oh, they said that there's an objective meaning, and I'm just like, wait, but if you think it means this way and you prove it with your literary techniques, doesn't that mean that your like how you interpret this line would also be correct? Like why do we have to follow the teacher's interpretation of this line?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I think it depends on the teacher. At least in my experience, it depends on the teacher.
Yeah, that's one thing I hate about English is that it's so it's so subjective. Yeah.
I think specifically HSC English, because in HSC English, like the markers are looking for particular things. Whereas and then even if you can prove stuff, like it doesn't matter, like they're just gonna not mark you. Whereas I think in uni they give you a lot more leeway. Like the professors are like, if you can make because I know in uni like the professors are a lot more lenient on this. They're like, okay, if you can prove your point, like you get the marks. Like it doesn't matter. Like, well, I guess like for us, like it doesn't. I think for us, like it's not very like we don't get to see that perspective very well because we're science students. Things
no, because for my first year of uni, I did do liberal arts where I did have to write like an essay, like a critical thinking essay. And I actually, because I thought like high HSC would be the same, where it's just like. They just see how well you answer the question, how well you follow your point, and they don't care too much.
They don't care what the actual point is.
They do, because if you argue against the question, it's a lot harder to do than if you just agree with the question straight up, kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm just like, so I was just like, I felt like because I was under the impression that as long as you answered your own like answer, like as long as you like kept the consistency in your response and linked back to your topic, like overall topic, then it's okay. They'll probably mark you correctly.
Yeah, I think at least in my experience, it depends on the teacher, because I've had both teachers. I've had a teacher that just like, oh, this is the interpretation I wanted you to get from it, and if you didn't get it, you'll get points off. And then I've had the teacher that just like, okay, if you can prove it, that's good enough, essentially.
Okay.
So at least for me, it depends on the teacher.
Okay. That makes sense. I like it better when teachers go like, oh, as long as you prove your point, it's fine. I don't like it when they're just like, oh, this is the meaning, you must argue this way, and I'm like, well, it doesn't that go against the whole English as a subject, which is why I really hate English as a subject, because it's so subjective. Like if the marker doesn't agree with you, they can automatically just be a bit biased and just be like, I'm gonna take marks off for bias. I'm gonna be more critical of this essay because I don't agree with what they're thinking. And I'm just like, okay, that's one thing why. That's one of the reasons why I kind of hate English. It feels like an art subject to some extent, and I hate that it's a compulsory.
Yeah, you have to like try and hit miss. You have to try and like hit miss. Like you just throwing darts on the board and you're just praying that.
Yeah.
And
which is also annoying, because if you try to like argue something new, either the marker wants to disagree with you and doesn't agree with what you say, or but if you want to like follow, like just go with the question, just agree with what the question says, you're also your writing becomes like your topics become too similar to other people who are doing the HSC. So then markers will be marking multiple essays with the same like arguments, and it's just like, okay, what do they want us to do then? They want us to write something that's unique, but at the same time, how do we write something unique when all they want us to do is agree with this topic? It's just like you're contradicting yourself here. Right? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's just
I think at my school, like it's pretty it's pretty explicit knowledge like throughout our students that the HSC wants you to respond in a particular way, and I think like all of us were like kind of like, okay, we might not agree, but we'll just suck it up for the marks.
Yeah.
And then we just like hope that our teachers can point us in the right direction as to what the markers are looking for. Because I think all of us here accept that like the HSC is like kind of crap.
Yeah, no, it's just like, oh, what's the point, man? Oh, why do we need? Yeah. I mean, education system is flawed, but oh well, can't be helped. I guess this is the system we live in. It's just like there's nothing else we can do. There's nothing better, I guess, kind of thing. Kind of just have to accept it and go with the flow. Yeah. So for the listeners who are still in high school, here's some English hot tips.
Oh, it was an Australian high school at least.
Oh, wait.
For me, unless for me the whole it depends on your teacher's interpretation. That was a rare one where like no one really liked them, and like, I've had that more as a rare instance. Like usually it was just like if anything, it was just like, okay, as long as your essay includes like these three X, Y, and Z, like you know you could be as creative as you want essentially, as long as you like stick to like what the topic essentially is. Like if it's like if we're talking about Romeo and Juliet or like whatever play, if it's like, okay, analyze this scene, whatever, and the analysis isn't about that scene, then it's just like, okay, that's too much. Like yeah, that's too much freedom. But if just like this is what you took away from it, and it's just like, yeah, this is what you took away from it essentially.
What about? Yeah, I feel like maybe sometimes it's just like there are certain teachers where they're just like kind of stingy, and they're just like they think that they're always correct kind of thing, where it's just like, oh, why aren't you using the point I gave you? Like that's correct. Like what was so wrong about my point? Because they feel like offended or something that you decide not to use their ideas. And then, and then because of that, they'd be more critical with your work.
It's funny too because like I remember in high school it was my final year, and like I had in my year, like it's split into two halves. So in the first year I had like this kind of like younger guy. He was just like a normal adult, and like and he was like that guy who was just like, okay, my point is the correct point. Like I remember multiple times in my essays he was always just like, why did you use this example, or like, you know, this felt like it didn't fit or whatever. And then like in my second half of the year I had like this old crotchety lady, and I was like, oh gosh, this is gonna be so much worse. And then like I had her, and like she was just like actually so much more modern. Like she like gave us like laptops to write all our essays on instead of just pencil and paper. And like in all my essays it was always just like, this is good, you hit the bullet points, good job, like A.
Okay,
like,
that's nice. Okay, fair. So, that's nice.
I think it's dependent on the teacher. I also thought it was funny that like the old crotchety lady was more like,
yeah, I was like the irony.
Yeah, irony.
Dude, our old crafty lady in high school, I swear she was sexist or something. She was just super rude to the guys in our class. Like they mess up a little bit, and she just like absolutely just yells at them. She screams at the top of her lungs.
Oh my god.
Okay. Whereas a girl like messes up and does the same thing. She's like, "Oh, you sweetheart, you're fine. Don't worry about it." And I'm just like, it's so blatant. It's so blatant that when she does it, I just look at everyone in class. I'm like, are you guys hearing this shit? But it's very funny. It's very entertaining because of that. It was not nice, but it was. I guess it provided some sort of entertainment to some extent. But teachers really are a hit or miss when it comes to classes.
That like, is really what it is.
I think having the right teacher for the subject is really what determines whether you like that subject or not.
Oh yeah,
100%.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think that's why I didn't like VO. I think it's part of the reason why I didn't like VO very much.
Yeah, dude, I hated bio in high school because the teacher was so boring. Like, it got to the point where, like, just the idea of having bio as a next subject on my timetable was like, I was dreading it. It gave me so much anxiety, and I'm like, even though I liked the subject, I hated the teacher so much. I was like, okay, I can't deal with this. I can't.
You like bio? Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, because I thought, you know how I'm like interested in animals, nature, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's
and
fair.
then So then, so that's why now in uni I'm doing science, right? The irony is I never did a science subject in high school because I hated the science teacher so much.
Wait,
and
then how did? Oh, okay, don't worry, it's fine. Wait, wait, did you have assume? Wait, so does vet sciences actually have no assumed knowledge?
Not really. It's just
Okay, that's fair.
I did the really basic course. I did so they have different levels for different like people with like different
Like high
different
school
levels of yeah.
Interest,
So you have
whatever.
like yeah, if you don't have the assumed knowledge, then you just go do the basic version of it, and then you just start from there, kind of thing. And the basic, they pretty much just
Oh,
go through all the high school content during that year, and it's just like, and it helps a lot with catching like with the later years and stuff.
oh, yeah. Oh, okay, that makes sense.
But yeah. Dude, I just like, even though it's a subject I really liked, I would have done a thing where I was just like, I just stop attending bio classes and self-study, but like, it feels like, because obviously there's also the attendance thing, and I
The
can't.
attendance, yeah, you need
Yeah,
85%, yeah.
Yeah, I can't
Otherwise
do
you
that.
fail.
Yeah, it's not that, okay. Apparently in my school, it's like if you don't get the 85, the teacher can choose to fail you. They don't have to if they don't want to. If they feel like you're doing well in class, yeah, that's how it works. Well, that's what my math teacher said. He's just like, if you have below 85%, it's not that you will automatically fail. It's just that the teacher gets to choose if they want to fail you or not. So if they feel like you don't know the subject well enough, then they'll fail you. If they feel like if you don't have an 85,
if you're doing really good, then like, and you have it below 85, then like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and if teacher feels like it's not necessary to fail you, then they won't fail you. That kind of thing, apparently.
Oh wow, that's so interesting. Because I think for us, like, everyone was just so scared of it that they were like, okay, no, you have to make the 85. So no one actually knows what happens if you don't make the 85.
It's definitely a result of like different school culture, because you know how my school culture, freaking monkey, whereas it's a zoo. It's a zoo. We did it was freaking trial exams, and no one was taking that seriously. Whereas
everyone was freaking out about trials in my school. Holy crap!
Yeah, I was listening to stories from my cousin's school, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, everyone came out of trial exam crying." And I'm like,
"Oh my gosh!"
People,
oh my god.
I'm just like, wait, people crying at trial exam? Yo, we had people sleeping in my trial exam. Hello.
Okay, to be fair, I did sleep in my external, but that was because like I finished the test like so. Okay, so this is for external. This is for bio.
Yeah.
So they give us 3 hours, right? Mm-hmm. I finished. So I go through the. So I'm like, oh, that's 3 hours, like because I've done like multiple practice papers before, and I'm like, okay, time is like a non-issue. So I'm like, I'm gonna go through this paper as like slowly as I can and think about everything as hard as I can. Like, Anyway, I do that in hour classes.
Yeah.
Like,
okay. What do I do for the next hour?
The next 2 hours, yeah. And then I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna check my work, and so I check my work. 20 minutes passes. Anyway, I still have like an hour and a half left, and I'm like, I'm tired as hell. I'm gonna go to sleep.
Dude, I can understandable where like, so I think that happens. That typically happens to me with math, and it's just like you feel weird because you're just like, oh, I don't feel good about walking out of the exam, like leaving the exam like before the timer is up. So I might as well spend the next hour or so just actually proofreading, double checking my work. But then you finish double checking in like 30 minutes and you didn't really change anything. And it's just like you look at the time, it's just like still so much time. Just like, what do I do?
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, I guess I'll just sit here and stare at the ceiling.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah. Understandable though. So
wait, actually, how many units of maths did you do?
I did advanced maths, 2-unit maths.
Oh, you did advanced as well. Okay.
I really wish I did 3-unit because apparently I could have done 3-unit. It's just like because my private tutor was like, you could have done 3-unit if you really wanted, because 2-unit maths was actually I understood everything very quickly, and he was like, what, your math isn't even that bad. Because so basically I think my issue with maths was year 9 to year 10. I was absolutely flunking it because you know what, I got into the bad habit of sleeping during class because my year 8 teacher was like, oh, I don't mind if you guys sleep in class, and I was like, I bet. So I took the opportunity to sleep through all my math class, and I
what the heck? How can you teach to sleep in a class like that consistently?
Exactly, my classmates asked the same thing where they're just like, how do you sleep in a classroom? Like, how are you able to sleep in class? Like, isn't it noisy? And I'm just like, I just don't sleep. I just sleep so late at night that it makes me tired enough to sleep at my desk. Just to fall asleep there. But it was so bad. My math was so bad in like grades 8 to grade 10. In grade 9 I got like an E grade from a math teacher, and then my math teacher pulled me over and just like parent teacher interview, and he was just like, dude, what do you want me to... Yeah, he was just like, what do you want me... It was parent teacher interview right coming up, and I was getting E grades in math, and he's like, dude, what do you want me to tell your parents in parent teacher interview? And I'm just like, I just shrugged, and I'm just like, I'll just tell them the truth, honestly. And I was like, so obviously because of that, I started struggling math a lot in high school, right? But then it wasn't until I was like, because I was trying to tell my dad, can you give me a private tutor? Can you give me a private tutor? It wasn't until grade, it wasn't until grade 11 where he caved and he got me a private tutor. And what he told my private tutor,
oh my god, it helped so much actually.
What he told the private tutor was, oh, she's really bad at math. So obviously my private tutor, like, he came into our classes expecting the worst. But then, like, he explained concepts, and then I understand it immediately, and he's just like, what the heck, your math isn't even that bad. Wait, what? Why does everyone say your math is bad? Your math isn't even that bad. You could have done 3, And I'm like, this is why I wanted to get a private math tutor as soon as possible, man.
To be fair, it was because you were sleeping in class.
Yeah.
Like, not because you were bad at math, just because you were sleeping in class.
Yeah, it was just because I was sleeping. I wasn't listening to the class. And I was like, grade 7, my math was completely fine, like, blitzing through. I didn't even need to think about it, right? Grade 8, started sleeping in class, stopped paying attention to the teacher. Because he was just like, you can sleep in class. And I'm like, I bet. I'm just like,
oh my gosh.
I took his words literally. And I'm like, man, I got too lax because of that.
I'm surprised the teacher just said that. Like, who just says that?
I don't.
I think actually, I have a feeling a teacher might say that because there may be some students who are struggling with circumstances at home or whatever, and
they think it to be nice. Yeah. But then I took their words too literally.
And I think
good night.
But I think this was the same teacher who pulled you aside after you got the E and said, "What do you want me to tell your parents?"
No.
Oh, different teacher. Okay.
So year 8 we had one math teacher. Year 9 we had a different math
teacher.
Oh,
okay, yeah. And then, Actually, the reason why I say that is because, well, the reason why I bring that up is because I think it's actually like really, really thoughtful that they asked because because some households are like literally abusive about this.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to ask the kid to make sure, like, because they don't want to be potentially be putting the kid in danger.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. So I'm very grateful for him to ask that, and I think, like, obviously grade 8, grade 9, and grade 10 to 12 we actually had grade 10 to grade 12 we had the same math teacher for the rest of my high school year. But like my grade 10 teacher, my grade 10 teacher was actually, he was from China, so he was Chinese. So he was just like, so he was the one who highly recommended, I think you should get a private tutor because they can help you more in the vision. And he was trying to convince my dad with me as well to get me a private math tutor. But my dad kept saying, no, they're a waste of time. Because I think back in primary school, we had bad experience with private teacher where, like, he hired like a uni student who as a math private tutor back then, and it felt like he was kind of just wasting our time and like just wasting my dad's money kind of thing. So I guess my dad had a very bad impression of private tutors, so he was really stubborn against getting a private tutor. But then after some convincing from my math tutor and me, he finally caved. In grade 11 we finally got a private math tutor, but it was too late for me to change to 3-unit math by then, and I was like, dang, could have done 3-unit math, but I didn't. Wait,
actually, what subjects did you do again?
The worst scaling subjects!
Oh, that's right. You did standard English, right?
Advanced English.
So you did advanced. So you did advanced English, advanced maths. Oh, that's 4 units. And then you did.
It was visual arts, PDHPE, business studies, and then Chinese and context had decent scaling. But it wasn't enough to pull up visual arts, PDHP, business studies. God damn.
Holy crap! So you did 12 units?
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
Which is stupid because my teachers was like, "Oh, you guys have to do 12 units in case you flunk a test or you don't show up to a test." So I was under the impression like, I have to do 12 units, which is stupid because then I ended up overloading myself and I couldn't focus on like 10. Like if I were to do 10 units rather than 12 units. So I absolutely detest the advice my high school teachers gave me. Absolutely worst advice they ever gave me. I think honestly want to blame them for part of my my bad ATA. I kind of partly want to blame them because of their advice. Because obviously I went to a school where like the peer pressure isn't as intense. So I only had the teachers' advice to go on. They're all like, pick the subjects you enjoy learning. Scaling doesn't matter. Pick 12 units. So I did everything they told me to do, and because of that, I feel like I performed a lot worse than I could have done in HSC, which really annoys me. Because my raw marks were really good, but the scaling dragged me the heck down so much, and I was like,
I think your school also must have played a part because I know for me, because I know, like, probably said this before, but my sister goes to a private school, and because of that, she's probably like top 10 or even top 5 in her grade.
Yeah.
And then like, actually, yeah, it's probably she's definitely like really up there.
Yeah.
But she's in private school, where I went to a selective.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, selective school just means you need to do a test to get into the school.
Yeah. It's just like, it's pretty much just like dividing the smart kids with smart kids and the dumb kids with dumb kids. To say blatantly. Well, that's like the pressure. That's the difference between public schools and a selective school. That's the.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What was I saying? Oh, that's right. Yeah, and like because of how the whole ASAR thing works, like your school's performance also is part of the formula for determining how well you do.
Yeah.
So because of that, I think we're always telling my sister. I think my sister like knows in the back of her head that like, wow, like she's made really good friends and like because she seems pretty happy there. Like I think that the community there is quite nice. It's just that because of how poorly, well, not okay, poorly's harsh, but like because of how well, like not so well that her friends do compared to her. Like her friends will be the ones dragging her marks down because she's in the top. Yeah, whereas for me, like I'm definitely in the bottom half, like somewhere in the bottom half of my grade, but because I go to such a good school, like my school's carrying me.
Yeah, that's
well,
why
my school this one up. So that's why school kind of like. That's also why it's like sometimes it's like school's dragging me down.
Yeah, it does. And I think it's also annoying because like the teachers like the worst advice the teachers gave was like scaling doesn't matter. But like, like I don't know. I feel like they're just saying that just out of obligation. They probably don't agree with it, but like I think to some extent, if you're for example if you're a straight C student, scaling does matter. Unless you're a straight A student, scaling doesn't. That's the only time scaling doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So obviously I learned from this mistake. So I told my brother, don't listen to what your teacher says. They're going to tell you scaling doesn't matter. Scaling does matter. So I told him to pick like decently scaling subjects. And he obviously did better than me in the HSC as a result. Even though his marks weren't as good.
I think the advice, I think it's bad advice that comes from a good place. Because the whole point is like, you don't want to be miserable while studying for these. But the thing is, if you're not so great of a student already, then like you should at least be scaling. Like, or like say for example, if you hate school, you should optimize. Like don't. Yeah,
exactly. You should be you should be min-maxing your marks. You can't be doing whatever you want. Exactly.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah.
So
it's actually bad at the game. It's actually bad at the game. Pick a meta class, like otherwise you're not business with that meta class.
Yeah.
So,
like if your marks on the line and it's just like it's pretty much an LSOD. Imagine if you got graded in LSOD for how well you did in Rossa Raid or something. In that case, you'd actually pick a meta class instead of like playing for fun kind of thing. Because otherwise, if you play for fun, you play like Black Massacre. You're not gonna do as well as someone who plays like a pure DPS class like
Loretta.
Yeah, it's just like no. Okay, it's like times like this where I wish my teacher just gave me honest advice. Just be like, yo, you're kind of dumb. Okay, you should do that. You should do good scaling subjects, kind of thing.
Wait, hold on, real quick. I don't think us Americans understand what this whole scaling thing is.
Okay, so I will attempt to explain. So scaling is usually when they calculate your final mark for the sake of university acceptance, what they do is they add like a multiplier at the end of every subject to it's to balance out. It's an attempt to balance out the marks you get from an easier subject versus a hard subject. Because say for example, if you get an 80 in an easy subject, then it will balance differently to say if you get like a 60. Say for example, if you get 60 in a hard subject, like that might get scaled, like your actual like mark after all the multipliers might be scaled up to reflect the actual difficulty of the subject compared to other subjects.
Yeah.
So So what's a good example? 4-unit maths is notorious for being one of the best like upscaling subjects. Like if you get a 60, that's the subject scaling takes it up to like 80 or 90.
Dude, if you get a 30, even if you get a 30 or 40%, it scales you up to like a 60 or something.
Yeah, it scales up. Yeah. But for example, let's compare it to music. For music, because of how easy the subject is, your marks get scaled down until a certain mark threshold, which is then when it starts scaling up. Like
For example, if you do general math, I think general math is a bad scaling subject. For example, if you got 100% in general math, they scale you down to a 95%, even if you got 100%. So
because the subject is easy.
Because the subject is considered easy.
That's so weird. Yeah, we don't have that.
Exactly.
It's just what you get is what you get, and then that's all calculated.
Yeah. Which is interesting because I don't believe universities do that even in both America and Australia. Because
I think scaling, no, that doesn't happen in uni because all of the subject mark scaling thing is for the sake of the ATAR, which is and ATAR is not a raw mark; it's a ranking that determines university admission.
Yeah.
So
So if you get a 90, so the highest ATAR you can get is a 99.95, and that just means you
top 0.002%.
Yeah, of the population of the of your cohort, and etc. 60% means you're in the top 40%. 60 ATARs means you're in the top 40%.
Yeah.
But in university, like you could take a fluff subject just to boost your GPA or WAM.
Yeah.
And it's completely fine. Yeah.
Yep.
High school.
That is weird.
Yeah, it is. I hate it. Why do they? But unfortunately, I don't know. I thought America had the same thing.
No.
I thought America high school. Oh.
No, they just mark it 5 and that's it.
Yeah, the grade you get is what you get, and it's all calculated the same essentially.
All right, so you guys just have to meet a threshold, like the mark threshold for entrance, university entrance requirement or something.
It depends on the university. Every university has its own entry requirements. But usually it's actually one of the biggest things is just how well you did on the SAT or ACT. You guys have that over there? The SAT?
We have HS. We have HS.
Yeah, we just have the one test. We just have the one test. Just
that's the same thing. SAT,
okay.
ACT. It's one test you take, and then you just have a score, and then that's I guess that's just their margin on like an entrance, and then like other things like you there's like recommendations you can get from your teachers they submit to colleges. They usually have you write an essay, and that'll have influence as well, etc.
Yeah, different university. Yeah, it's very different. Whereas I think we're here, like you just have the one standardized. You just have the one standardized test, and then depending on the university, you might have to submit extra things. Or depending on what course you want to go into. Like say for example, if you want to go to the con, you have to audition as well.
Yeah. I think over here our rank it's how well you do among your cohort that determines like which good university.
Like the only biggest like modifiers, so to speak, is like there are some subjects that are just 2 grades pass fail. Like that's one thing that's here. I never took any of them, but there's some classes that are just straight up pass fail. You either pass it or you failed it, and then it's recorded as either 100 or either a 50 or a 0. I'm not sure.
So. Does that mean like for your SAT, for your university entrance exams, does like so 100% of the decision comes into how well you do on the SAT?
No, it just it's more like if you didn't do above this amount, like you're probably not gonna get into this college. I think it's just like a heavy influence.
It's a heavy. So it's not okay.
Because like if you have like really good recommendations and like a really good essay, I think you might still be able to get into a certain college or university.
Yeah.
If you can prove that you're competent,
Yeah.
Maybe. And again, it just depends too, because it depends on other things too, because obviously colleges care about diversity and things like that. So depending on like what race you are, you have a better chance or worse chance as well. But that's a whole different story. Oh yeah, that's a big thing. Yeah, college is very much like they love diversity in like their campuses and things like that. So,
okay. So it's more like if you say you were black, then
imagine. Oh my gosh! Imagine in hiring based on ethnicity.
I mean, it's college, so it's a little bit different than hiring. Yeah.
I think for us they encourage diversity a little differently. It's more like they have like scholarship packages.
Yeah.
Because colleges love to present themselves as a diverse campus. Like they just love to present themselves
so
like that.
Okay, so if you say like, you're black, then like
you'll have a better chance. Like definitely, you'll definitely have a better chance. Yeah.
What the heck? What has this world come to?
This is how it is. And then what was it I was gonna say? Oh yeah, and then another thing you can do in high school is like AP classes. AP classes standing for advanced placement. It's essentially a very difficult class of a subject. But after that class, you take a standardized test, and most of the times, that test, if you do very well, translates to a college credit.
Oh wow! So you get like, so some of your progression already like gets chopped off because you did well. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully the college accepts it, because obviously a college can just not accept it.
Just like say no.
but I think a good majority of them still like take like a really good SAT like not SAT AP exam scores.
Yeah.
It's usually for because
yeah.
it's usually for like basic stuffs like I took AP Bio like that was the subject that I took. That was like the only subject. No, I think I took AP Psychology too. Yeah, I took AP Psychology, AP Bio, and I did pretty well on those. So those transferred over, which was nice. And there was some other things too, but they're usually like the basic college kind of level entry stuff. AP Chem sucks. I've heard horror stories about AP Chem, but we don't talk about that. I hate chemistry. But we don't even talk about that.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
Yeah. Some of them can be hard, but they're usually like pretty like entry level like college stuff. So you can be like, okay, I got the entry level stuff done. Let's move on to the more complicated stuff. Kind of thing like that. So.
Okay, fair
But at that level in high school, like they're pretty difficult. Like I remember AP Psychology wasn't too bad. It was just a lot of memorization of like terms and things like that.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Just because psychology as a concept is just like, this is probably correct, but it also could be wrong. So like a little bit of leniency there. But like AP Bio got me sometimes because like there's just a lot because like it was just so much about like just science and things like that, like human body and then like. What is it? Just like the environment, things like that, like animals and creatures and things like that. So that was a lot more difficult. Yeah, the AP Bio was a lot more difficult for me.
Okay, fair.
But yeah, that's the thing we have in high schools as well. Yeah. And specifically my high school, because you guys were talking about like, oh, this is where the smart kids, this is the dumb kids go. We kind of had something like that. I'm not gonna say the program, obviously, but it was essentially like those kids who were in this program, they had a whole, I don't know what other benefits quote unquote, but they had a whole extra subject. Like that was like kind of like, I don't know if it was a drive or a requirement to be in this program or whatever. I don't even know what the requirement was to be in this program. I just heard about it and knew about it. But like one of the biggest things that they had a whole extra subject every single day. Every single day they stayed in the school for like 45 more minutes because they always had this extra class they would have to do every single day. I think it could be any subject that you wanted it, but within a list, because obviously teachers can't stay there longer than they have to unless it's really specific teachers. But that was a program for certain kids. I don't know how you got into that program. I don't know. I just knew it existed.
Well, I don't know, because in our university, for example, I think in university we have something similar, but it's more so like it was a choice thing. If you wanted to do an advanced class, if you wanted to challenge yourself, you could. But obviously, you'd be risking your wham.
Yeah,
I think and I think it also depends on like what like the program you're in as well. Because I would like, so for example, like because I was in advanced science and not just like normal science. I had to like, it was mandatory for me to take the more advanced. Actually, not even mandatory, but it's more like I couldn't do because I think for like first year chem there were 3 versions. It's like the basic, the standard, and the advanced. And so because I was in advanced science, I couldn't do the basic version. I had to do either the standard or advanced, and I clowned and I took the advanced version.
Oh, yeah, I remember that too, actually. I didn't think of another thing that separates them. So yeah, like Sky was saying, like for a lot of subjects we had just the normal class. And then we had a class called Honors, which is just like, it's the same class, the same credit, but like it's more difficult, just I guess for the more difficulty of it. And then you had, well, obviously the AP version, but that's like a completely different thing. Yeah, I completely forgot Honors were a thing. I think
in here we have stuff like that for certain subjects. Like I think English is probably the biggest example.
I always took English Honors. I always did.
Oh my god! Like I think for our school, like because. I think for English, there's like 3 versions of the lowest amount of. So how the HSC works is you take units of like stuff, and then different subjects will work different amounts of units usually depending on how hard they are. And how much time. No. Actually, I think units is determined by how much time you have to spend on that particular subject. And then so I think for 2-unit English, there's like 3 versions of it. I'm trying to think of. Okay, so there's English, so there's ESL, so English is the second language. Obviously,
you guys have ESL too.
Yeah, we have ESL, and we have standard English and advanced English. Obviously, standard is easier, but the scaling is not as high. And my school only offers advanced English.
Oh wow.
Yeah, my school only offered standard English. I honestly think if standard English was offered at my school, like everyone would take standard English. Like
Really?
almost no one at my school likes English. Like
Oh,
Really?
everyone hates English here.
Because I thought
So,
your school would care about scaling. Because I think I believe standard
that's true,
English
yeah.
scaling would be so atrocious.
Pretty bad, yeah.
Like,
But that's true, yeah. But I think people would rather take. I think people would rather take the L in standard English and then like go with the Asian 5.
Okay, you know what? Understandable.
Okay, by the way, Asian 5 here refers to a specific combination of subjects.
Oh yeah,
which is two English
STEM, right?
So which basically STEM, but we call it Asian 5 because so which is 2 English, 4 maths.
4-unit maths. Ah, yes, of course.
Yeah, I think 4 maths, chem, phys, and I think economics.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, really? That's
interesting.
interesting.
Economics doesn't scale particular. Actually, economics doesn't scale like that well, but it's Asian 5.
That sounds familiar. Yeah. For us, we had what was it? We just kind of had requirements you had to do. So you had to do 4. So it was 4-year high school. So you had to do 4. You had to do English every single year. You had to do, I think, 4. So that was 4 English, obviously. I think you had to do 4 math. It was either 4 or 3 math. You had to do 3 science, I think. It was something like that. It was just like, yeah, a bunch of these requirements that we had to do. I think that was just kind of a generic thing that just everybody had to do.
Like, yeah. Oh, wait, Scott. I had a curious question. In your school, did you ever have like? Did your teachers ever recommend you against doing extension? Like, did your teachers ever recommend students against doing extension subjects, or did they always hire just if you wanted to do extension, you could do it without meeting a requirement or anything?
They didn't explicitly prevent you, or they didn't explicitly recommend against it, but it's more like they say like, okay, if you fulfill XY things, like say for example, I don't actually know because I think everyone had like a rough idea on what was like kind of required to, or like the kind of work that was required to be successful in extension subjects. So say for example, in maths, like everyone going into it knew that they were going to be spending like 2-3 hours on maths every day, and that was what you needed to be successful in 4-unit maths. And I guess everyone who went into extension music knew that you probably need to be practicing certain amount of hours. Like you need, like everyone going into it already knew that they needed to kind of like meet a certain certain standard for performance. Like if they're going to do the performance one, because in extension music you don't have to do performance. You can do something else. Yeah. I think it's pretty much it. I think pretty much everyone knew what the subjects actually entailed like well enough to know like, hey, like is this subject right for me or is it not right for me?
Oh, fair, yeah.
So and so I think the teachers didn't really actually like need to say anything other than like that unless you were actually unsure as to whether you were capable of doing it, then you probably go to the teacher, explain the circumstances. So if the teacher recommends you against it, like it's a very like case by case like circumstantial thing. So if they could clearly see that you were not fit for it, then they would say like we don't think we should do it.
Okay, fair. Yeah, because it's so stupid. I think it's just
What was like your school?
Okay, so in my school where I met the requirements, and I was like, I think I could like if I wanted, I feel like I could have done. I wanted to do extension 3 English. I met the requirements as well. I felt like my English grades were actually pretty good. Yeah, English was one of my best subjects in high school.
Oh, interesting.
But the thing is, I think the English teacher hated me or something because I slept in one of her classes back in year 9. And she just went, no, you're not allowed to do it. It's gonna be too hard for you. And I'm just like, I wanted to do extension English, but I couldn't because this teacher wouldn't let me. So
wow.
So because of that, I got locked out an opportunity for it.
Oh my god.
And I'm just like, I thought it was because like she thought that I was stupid or something. She thought that extension English would be out of my capability, right? Funny thing is like my English was like other than the extension students, it was actually top of the class. And then
wow.
and I'm just like, why was I not allowed to do extension English? Maybe I'm overthinking. I don't know, man. Like, why did she not let me do extension English? I still don't get it to this day. I was like, I knew what was required. I know what they were gonna ask for in extension 3 English, and I was just like, I feel like I can do this though because I really like story writing, yeah, and my essay writing is pretty good too. And she's like, no, you can't do it, and I'm like, okay. I just listened to her. It's literally the same teacher who said that scaling doesn't matter, pick 12 units. And I listened the heck out of her words, so I just listened to everything she said and just followed everything she said. Biggest regret, big regret. There's anything I go back in high school, I slap myself, be like, don't listen to this teacher. You might like her, but if she doesn't like you, don't listen to her.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I think the only time you should not do a scaling subject is if you actually can't handle it. Like for example, like, I would not go down for. Like, for example, like 4-unit maths. Like, if you're not willing to sit down for like 2-3 hours a day, every day doing maths, then like, we don't want to do 4-unit maths.
But I feel like even then, I feel like there's nothing wrong with trying it and then realizing that you can't do it and then dropping it. Yeah. Rather than like, oh no, you're not allowed to start it from the get-go, and I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, because I know.
Immediately just got locked out of an opportunity.
Yeah, speaking of that, in 4-unit. Because you know how in 4-unit, like if you do 4-unit maths, you don't have to take 2-unit classes, because they assume that if you are in the 4-unit level, like you're good enough to get 100% in the 2-unit.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't have to do it all together. And then but in my school, like what you had to do was like in the first term, all the 4-unit kids had to do the 2-unit exam as well, and so they had to learn 2-unit content and learn and go to the 2-unit exam as well, like basically as a backup in case you drop down to 3-unit. Because if you drop down to 3-unit, then you have to do 2-unit.
Yeah.
So then it's like, so then I'm like looking at all my friends who are like stressed as hell because they have to do 3 exams. You have to sit like 3 exams.
This is like, it's so tough for like, for you kids, because they're learning like double the math content compared to, which was really funny because a lot of the like, for example, when I was dating Alan at the time, Alan was doing 4-unit, right? And then,
God.
Yeah, he was doing 4-unit. It was really funny because there was one time where the 4U teacher was sick, so the 4U unit class came to us 2-unit class, and we were studying together. And so that was the first time in math class where I got to sit with Alan and we got to do math together. And the funny thing was like a lot of the 2U stuff he needed my help for, and then he's just like,
some of the 2-unit stuff is just like what?
Yeah, I'm just like, wait, that's kind of funny how like. Your 4-unit, you're in more math advanced class, but then the easier 2-unit stuff they can't do anymore. They actually have to ask the 2U students for help because they rarely go through the 2U content in 4-unit. And I'm just like, wow.
Yeah, because 4-unit content is like completely different from 3-unit. It's like more like conceptual, like actual hard stuff. Like in 4-unit, it's kind of like, I think the external paper in the 4-unit is like a 6-page exam. Yeah. And like if you can actually get through all 6 pages, and then you are like top scoring, like you are like above 90, 95, like like you're a god if you can get all of that done because it's just that tough. Because I remember when I went to coaching, my teacher, when I went to maths coaching year 12, my teacher was actually a recent graduate from my school, and so like she was actually in the grade. She was actually in the grade above me.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Oh. No, I was just saying that that happens sometimes.
Oh yeah. Anyway, she was saying how she left two pages blank because she ran out of time, and she still got band 6. She still got band 6. And I'm like,
oh wow, what the heck? That's insane.
That's how hard the exam is. And then so does Joe have to for further mathematics or just 4-unit? I think because 4-unit is like the 4-unit, but everyone just calls it by the code name because it's easier. Yeah. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So for example, like the full name for these subjects is so 2-unit maths has 2 versions: there's standard maths and there's advanced maths. So standard and advanced have like very different content. Standard maths focuses on maths that is like actually applicable to everyday life, like stats. Like I heard like a third of the course is stats, and then advanced maths is more like basics for basic, so things like you get things like calculus, you have a bit of stats, you get some other things, and then 3-unit maths is called extension. Like the full name is called extension 1 maths. And the 4-unit is called extension 2. So okay, nice. Thanks for typing it out.
No. I just remembered it as I was typing.
Oh, okay. Oh, speaking of that, actually, I wondered how many people were in your 4-unit class in your cohort?
So in my cohort, we had
maths.
in total in our cohort we had I think 40 students, I think. And out of them, yeah, in total for my whole year, yeah, we're a tiny ass school.
Okay.
And for 4 I can name them all on my fingers actually. So it's less than 10. Yeah, so because our school that small. But it was very interesting because Alan would come into the class, we do 2&A, and he's just like, how do you do this? And I'm like, oh, you just do it like this. And he's like, what the heck? How do you know this? And I'm like, what the heck? How do you not know this? But then now I know, oh yeah, it's cause 4-unit, they're not studying 2-unit as closely.
The only stuff they take from 2-unit is the stuff that is like relevant for their 4-unit stuff, like basic calculus.
Yeah, exactly. They should be required to do it because I think they take. I think if you're a 4U student, you also take 3U classes.
Yeah, you also take 3U classes. Yeah. So okay, actually, the main reason why I ask is because okay, so I know my sister. Yeah, her sister. My sister's 4-unit class is also like single digit amount of people. In my school, 4-unit is a bloodbath. Like to get into. Okay, so because every year they only have two classes of 30. In order to get into the class, you need because the places for 4-unit is so competitive, you need there's limited spaces, right? But everyone wants to do it. So to get in, you need to be ranked in. So you get into the class. You get into the class based on your ranking in the 3-unit preliminaries. So basically the top 60 people. So everyone does prelims. Top 60 people in the 3-unit exam get a offer into the 4-unit class. And then I remember so I think this was the week before the prelim exams, like the pre-unit maths exams, right? And so I was playing basketball at the time, and we were in a basketball game. Anyway, before the game, because everyone else in my team except for me wants to do 4-unit, they're all so miserable and stressed because they all want to get into 4-unit, and they've been studying their asses off for the past week just for this one math exam. And then I remember one of them were like, if I don't get into 4-unit, I'm actually gonna cry. I think they all made it in, so it's okay. So they're okay. But oh my god, the team mood was just so oh my god.
4-unit sounds so stressful, man. I'm geez, I'm looking at some of the subjects, like freaking factorials, and then freaking butterfly geometry. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? Are you guys drawing or are you guys doing math? That kind of thing. And then the proof questions are like 3 pages long. And I'm just like, are you guys writing an English essay or are you guys doing math? What is happening here? Speaking of, recently, I was just bored, right? I think it was actually just last night. I went and opened a 2U math paper just to see if I could do it. Dude, the papers are so different now. There's so much more calculus compared to in the past. It feels like it's all calculus now.
I heard they took out the geometric. I heard they took out the geometric reasoning entirely.
Oh yeah, they did.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm like, oh come on,
I was like,
so hard.
Yeah, and I was looking at this, and I'm like, why does this feel so calculus heavy? Why does it feel like there's no other subject other than calculus here now? And I was looking at it, I'm like, oh my god, I completely forgot how to do all these math stuff. I recognize these topics, but I completely forgot how to do them, and it made me so sad because I used to be able to do them so easily back in high school.
Yeah, same. But now because you don't practice them anymore.
Yeah, and then it made me think back. Wow, how irrelevant were the things we learned in high school, man?
They're just for very specific occupations.
Yeah, because now, because we're sitting here, because I think even now, I think UNSW has a really generous bonus credit system. So because of that, all my 2-unit math subjects counted towards my entry marks, even though my major doesn't actually require any math outside the basic math, because I'm doing because I think for those who don't know, I majored in pharmacology, so that's all about drugs, how they work.
Yes, yeah,
and all that, and Crota's vet sciences.
Yeah.
So we're both kind of in the
no math department.
Yeah, the biological side of things. I have a bit more chemistry focus as well, but I also have to learn quite a bit of biology related things.
Mm-hmm.
And then so yeah, like because like all the math that we learn is like basically useless.
yeah. Like if anything, the most math I did was in the first year of chemistry when I had to take that one chemistry subject, and that's it. I've done it again.
Yeah, like I think the most of my math I had to learn was like basic like stats because I think like because everyone in science has to do stats, but the level of stats you have to do is like determined by what major you're in. So for example, like because I'm doing like pharmacology, I don't need I can do the most basic version of stats because I'm not doing like maths or something.
Oh yeah.
And so like I found that my stats subjects were way more applicable to psychology than they were because the thing is like because you know in psychology because our psychology is all evidence based, right? And so because it's all evidence based, like you know there's a lot of like stats and stuff in the papers because you have to determine whether your stats are actually like significantly
like p values and stuff.
Yeah. So like I had to use my stats more for psychology than for like.
Oh yeah, dude. Actually, same. Because my stats class was like, so like there was one bit where like they were doing math and they were like talking about integration. I'm like, oh my god, this is high school math. I got this. Yeah, I could. If they have more of this, I got this. Yeah. Thing is, apparently that was more advanced portion of the class, and we don't do that in my beginners level stats. And I'm like, are you serious? And I was so sad because I'm like, those are literally to me. They were like 3 marks to me, right? And I was just like, and majority of it was not on the like majority of the my stat was learning code and just understanding the values, and I'm like,
oh my god,
screw this. And I was like, oh like if they just implemented all those integration, I could have got so many 3 marks, but they did it, and I was just like, oh well, guess I gotta like struggle straight through this subject now as well.
And I guess there's also that it goes to especially because standard math is so like stat heavy. Like in this case, you'd actually benefit more from doing standard math.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, oh, dude, it's so interesting because even though like general math, standard math is meant to be easier than advanced math, right? We go and do general math questions, and we're just like, what's going on here? I don't understand this. What the heck? What's going on? Like I think I had a student like when I freshly graduated out of high school. She was doing general math, and I got so scared. I'm just like, oh no, how am I gonna understand any of her questions? How am I gonna help her? Which is ironic because it is supposed to be the quotation mark easier math, but if anything, it's just a more applicable math to real life scenario than
and it has like no bearing on. It's like even though general math has less scaling than advanced, it like yeah.
It's just like it's more applicable. It feels like it's more useful than like reality and stuff. Like if anything, 2 math has just the AP like calculating interest stuff, and that's it. AP, GP.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. Oh, I remember that. Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
We've talked an awful lot about school.
Yeah, we just went on a tour. We just went like, we started with Genshin translations, then we just went on a 1.5 hour rant about school.
Like, bro, we graduated high school 4 years ago. What is this?
Yeah, I can't believe it's been 4 years, because I keep thinking, oh, it hasn't been that many years, probably like 2 years at max, and then I go back and think, wow, it's been 4 years. Like, no wonder I forgot all my math content.
Yeah, like sometimes I feel like sometimes it feels like I graduated like a year or 2 years ago, but it's actually more.
Exactly.
I think and I feel, and like for me, like part of it might be because I'm actually doing 2 units of, 2 second year subjects.
Either that, or we just still feel like we're young. We're still young people. We feel like we're still youngings. We're still in our high school days. We're still we're 18 years old.
Wow, we're so old. We're so old. What is happening?
Where did our time go? I feel like the whole like going from 16 to 20. I don't know why that felt like a speed run now. Like
yeah, it actually did.
It felt like it passed so fast.
I feel like it's because like part of HSC is more like in being like stuck in a rock while we study our asses off, and then wow, we see the light. We come out of our sunny cave. Wow, we've seen sunlight ages.
There was one time I was holed up for 2 weeks straight, and I holed up for so long. I stepped outside for the first time in 2 weeks. My eyes started hurting from the sun rays. I was looking at the ground. Yeah, I was looking at the ground. The sun rays reflecting off the ground. It was hurting my eyes. Yeah, like sometimes oh my god. I mean, as someone with like sensitivity, like I can this is something I always relate to, regardless of how much time I spend outdoors. But like, still, it's like yeah. Hey, no matter how much gaming we do, no matter how much Elsword or Genshin Impact we play, please guys remember to go outside and get some fresh air. It's good for you.
Yeah, get fresh air, get exercise. No, seriously, like it is scientifically proven that it is good for you. Please get exercise, stay hydrated.
Look out the window, stare at some trees for like 30 minutes or something.
Yeah. Actually, I think optometrists like recommend like every like hour or something, like just look at afar. Let's look at somewhere that's far away.
Yeah.
Your eyes like don't have to like be so focused on something near all the time.
Yeah.
And yeah.
If the esports players do this, we should also do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, follow. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, technically, esports is considered like a sport.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, that's why I thought esport.
Yeah.
They train for competitive things like that.
Yeah, exactly. Scrims and stuff. It's very tiring.
Yeah, competitive like pro gaming is definitely different from like just playing or even like ladder. Like.
Yeah. Dude, it's interesting. Okay, Sky. Have you ever asked your parents a question? Do they consider gaming as a sport? Have you ever asked your parents?
I have not. No. Have you?
Okay, so I actually asked my dad. Hey Dad, do you consider gaming as a sport? And I was expecting him to say no, right? But he said, yes, I do consider gaming as a sport. And I was really surprised. And I'm like, what? And he was like, his reasoning was, well, people consider chess a sport, so why can't video gaming be considered a sport as well? And I'm like, true. I'm like, when my dad said that, I was like, respect. Oh, I gotta respect my dad so much when he said that. Dude, I think times like this, I'm so appreciative of my dad for not following the typical like Asian mindset standard kind of thing. And because of that, I can be super open up with my dad. Like sometimes I like back when I first got into MMDs, I'd show him a lot of my MMD videos, and he'd feel so proud. He's like, "Oh, why don't you pursue a career in animation or something, like 3D animation and like a game production or something?" And I'm like, or like do animation for Disney and stuff. And I'm like, I feel like that's a bit ambitious. I'm not gonna lie. But like he'd be so supportive to the point where like. He's just like, oh, can you send me links to them so I can watch them when you upload them? So it's really wholesome, it's really cute. I really appreciate my dad for that. Which, yeah, because I understand a lot of other kids can't be as open with their parents. Which is like fair enough because I understand like even though I am still open with my dad, there's still that huge barrier where he is still my parent, I am still his daughter, so I can't cross that boundary kind of thing.
It's also tough with internet stuff because internet stuff is such a new thing.
Yeah,
like, if our kids bring it up to us, we're gonna know to a certain degree. You know, obviously the internet's gonna change, but we'll know to a certain degree what's up with that.
Yeah. Speaking of, I had this really. So my mom, in an attempt to connect with us more, she's using Facebook more now, and I don't know, Facebook is a super boomer thing, but for me, I use Facebook a lot to contact my friends. She started using Facebook a lot, and I'm in a group chat with my mum and my brother in Facebook. So, but obviously, I don't talk to my parents online. If I talk to them, I either call them up or I talk to them face to face. And we don't do that online stuff, yeah. And then what ended up happening was because you know how I was doing the EU LSOT stream, and they made a post about me on the EU LSOT page. So then what I did was I shared that post on my timeline. And then my mum comments on it and she's like, oh.
Wait, she knows you're Mommy Crow? Wait.
No, I think she just saw me make a post. She didn't even know what that post was about. But she comments on it and be like, hi Kayleen, how are you doing? Are you eating well?
Oh my god.
It was so bad because the next comment afterwards was someone not addressing me as Kayleen but addressing me as mommy on my Facebook. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, so excuse my language for swearing right now. And I just went internally, I literally just went, fuck.
Okay, wait, so hold on, real quick, though, that's person's fault. Why the heck would they? Because that's obviously your name is on that Facebook, not Mommy Crow, obviously, right? So like, you know, let's not. Come on, guys, let's not reveal. Like, come on.
I obviously I didn't want to respond to that message because if anyone else, if any of my IRL friends saw me respond to that message, I'd be like, "What the fuck? What kind of kink do you have online?" That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So all I could do was just laugh, react. I couldn't respond to it.
Yeah, that's probably the best reaction at that point.
And then I like this was just last week, and then from this week I did not share that post ever. I'm like, never again. I'm gonna need to be very careful with who's looking at my Facebook timeline. I'm like, never again am I doing.
You should probably also be like to that friend, be like, hey, can we like, you know, separate the whole Mommy Crow from my real self kind of thing? Like,
it's so funny because I added this person like years ago. I didn't even know I added him when my name was Mummy Crow, and I'm pretty sure this person has quit Elsa like years ago as well. But they still went and called me Mummy, and I'm like, why?
did they at least just say mommy?
They just said Mummy. That's
okay,
it.
I don't want to say that's a bit better, but that's actually a little bit better, and it's better and worse in two senses. It's worse in the sense of just like, why is this guy calling you mommy? And it's better in the sense of just like, okay, your online identity is still kind of a secret thing.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, because they're outsiders. Like, if people don't know that you're
like mommy is still a
mommy.
thing you can call somebody. It's very, you know,
just,
specific.
Like, especially to strangers, it's very especially when like a stranger calls you mommy and you're not called mommy. It can be very creepy.
Because I'm surprised someone wasn't like, hey yo, so why this guy call you mommy?
Yeah.
Is he a creep? Do I need to report him to Facebook?
Is everything okay?
Oh no! Yeah, did luckily no one else commented anything, but I hope no one else saw the comment and just be like,
I mean, I saw
what is she doing?
Like I remember seeing it and being like I legit remember seeing it and being like, is this is not okay, right? Like,
Yo, you saw the post as well,
yeah, I saw it and I was just like, this is a bit like revealing, like. His Kronos is here.
I was so exposed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Rabia.
Yeah.
It's a mistake. I've never. Oh, dude, my cousin.
Daddy Crow is also Crow. She's both.
Yeah, Daddy Crow.
Yeah.
Who is that? Yeah, it's me as well. I literally made Daddy Crow to kink shame.
She made Daddy Crow first. That's a different backstory.
Yeah, Daddy Crow happened first. And then after I switched back to Nova Emperor, I changed my name to Mummy Crow to match. Now everyone calls me. More people call me Mummy than Crow. I wanted to keep the Crow in my name. Yeah, I wanted to keep the Crow in my name because I wanted people to still call me Crow. But now people call me Mummy instead of Crow. which is funny because before then, when my Furious Blade was called Daddy Crow, everyone kept calling me Daddy. So then
yeah.
So then when I had the Aussie L Sword Guild meetup, and I meet up in person, they were like, "Oh, you're a girl," and they were just like, "Wait, so what do I call you? I don't want to call you Daddy in public." And I'm like, I was just like, just call me by my real name. It's completely fine.
Yeah.
But it's weird, like if you like, because I think I asked Media and Sky this before, but I was like wondering to the new people in chat. It's just like, if you met up with online friends and you have an online alias, like would you rather they call you by your online alias or would you rather they call you by your real name, kind of thing?
I think I think maybe we said this before, but I think it definitely depends on like the environment and things like that. Because if it's like with people and like they generally know internet culture to a degree, I'd be fine with the in-game name. Or with like strangers, like if we're at like a freaking like restaurant or a store, I'm gonna call you Crow, like whatever. But if it's like if I'm like visiting like your family, like your parents, something like that, like if I come to Australia, I'd be like, I ain't gonna be like, hey Crow, I'm gonna see you use your name, because then your family's gonna be like, Crow, what?
I think for me it's more of a I'll always stick to online 100%. And I think
well, because I feel like you're in the convenient spot where Sky's a name. That is a name, like actually like
yeah,
kind of a real name.
It's not a real name, but it's a name. Yeah. But I guess like for me, it's more like I have bad associations with my real name, so it's like I would actually so it's like in general I would prefer to be addressed as my online name than my real name.
Yeah. I actually agree. Where like I actually like my online name more than my real name nowadays. And actually, my biggest pet peeve is if someone online calls me by my real name. So like, I don't mind people online knowing my real name, but if they start calling me my real name instead of Crow, I don't like it. Like I really hate. Like there's been times where I told them, okay, you need to stop calling me by my real name because it's kind of I don't.
Oh yeah, no. I had a no. You say that. I had a huge issue with that. I remember it was way back when I was maining raid charts. I for some reason to like in their guild community, they just like knew people's first names. So I shared my first name, and they literally just kept calling me that, and I was just like, guys, can you stop calling me this? Like calling me by my real name? Cause I just didn't like it. I just didn't like it. It wasn't comfortable for me.
Yeah.
Cause I don't know you people like that. Like that's not the relationship we have. Like I don't know you like that.
Exactly.
And they never stopped, and I eventually just left the guild because I was just like,
oh, okay. Yeah. So with my situation, it was a guy in my DMs. He was like, I wish I never told him I was a girl. Because he was like, because when I did say, oh yeah, I'm actually a girl. And he was just like, wow. Oh, I'm so glad because I thought I was falling in love with a guy for a second. I'm like, dang.
Don't say that. Yeah.
I was like, I'm just like,
I mean,
and
that's a whole different issue.
Yeah, and I'm just like, okay, I really wish I'd never revealed my gender. But then it got to a point where like, oh, he ended up finding out my real name, right? I don't mind people online knowing my real name, but the point is, he kept calling me by my real name, even though I told him, yo, I don't like being called by my real name by online friends. But he kept doing it. This is the same guy who I told you guys about, where like you know how I always say I never grinded for my DVC and my Argate? It's because it's this guy that he was simping. He gifted it all to me. I never grinded for that. I never paid a single penny for it. But it got to a point where he kept using my real name. I'm just like, okay, I have to block you now. So I blocked him. I never blocked him since.
Fair, honestly.
No, the issue. No. The thing wasn't. There wasn't anything wrong with liking a guy. The thing was what he said after finding out I was a girl. And I'm like, why did you say that? Why did you?
No, like I swear, it's always like. The guys who are always willing to strike up conversation in DMs always do dumb things that, like, I don't... Like, listen, guys. If a girl is talking to you in DMs, like, pretty consistently, look, you're good. Just don't be freaking a creep. Like, why do you gotta instantly be a creep? No one's gonna be like, oh, I don't know, I didn't, you know, like I didn't know I was falling, I'm glad I wasn't falling in love with a guy. No one's gonna look like that. No girl's gonna look like that and be like, oh my goodness, that's so cute, that's so sweet. They're gonna look at that and be like, what the heck? Like, who are you? Whose man's is this?
Yeah, exactly what so Rabia said. Wait, media said the whole thing. Media said the exact same thing to me. You give them an inch and they go a whole mile.
They really do. Like, I swear, it's always this weird guy.
Yeah.
Like, this is why I don't talk to randos from servers.
Oh my god, like, dude, if you are a guy and you are hitting a girl up in the DMs and she's giving you a conversation, just talk about things. Like, okay, you can put some... Yeah, like, you can put some flirting stuff in there. Like, you can put some flirting stuff in there for sure. But, like, you know, there's a limit, bro. Like, tease her. Don't be like, I love you. Like, hello? Who says that? You're weird.
Teasing, sometimes some guys just go way too far.
Yeah, then there's a balance. There's a balance. There's a balance. Yeah,
there's a balance. Yeah. Talk to them like a person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Gender doesn't matter. Like just like for a moment, like pretend gender doesn't exist. That's,
yeah.
They are a person.
Dude, dead ass. You know, okay. So like, for example, there'll be conversations where I have like when they think that I'm a guy, our conversations are completely normal. We're fine.
Yeah.
We can have the best conversation most like. And then the moment they find out I'm a girl, they can't talk anymore. They forget how to social. I'm just like, what happened to the dynamic we had before? It was fine before. Why can't you just talk to me like how I was before? Why does me revealing that I'm a girl change everything? Like,
right.
Why?
Like the flirting thing is that's the cherry on top. That's not the whole meal. Like that's just a little extra thing you add so she can be like, oh okay, kind of thing like that.
Yeah.
Like yeah. Like it's the little thing you add, but you gotta keep like a normal freaking conversation for.
Yeah, it's like, cause obviously there's also the guilt where like I'm just like, oh man, like you know that guilt where if they don't know your gender, you feel a bit guilty, like you're kind of misleading them, you're giving them the wrong idea of you, kind of thing. Right?
Oh my god.
Really? Wow.
These Elsa players are some role players. Oh no.
Yeah.
Sounds.
Actually speaking of gender, I recently found out that cisgender people are usually a lot less lax about what they're addressed as, because I think for me, especially because I was referred to as he, him for like 3 years.
Yeah, even
until people were like, you're a girl?
Wait, speak of, you know how Sky, where we first met each other at Smash in Sydney? Alright, so obviously my friend Quarter4554, she was pointing out how like, cause back then my IGN was Daddy Crow. She was pointing out how like, wow, Viper Crow and Daddy Crow, the most masculine names. But then you meet them around IRL, they're actually girls, which is the biggest irony.
True, yeah, Viper Crow is a lot more like
masculine.
Yeah. Like even though Daddy Crow has daddy in it, I could definitely see a girl just calling a male character that because she admires the male character that much.
Yeah, but you'd be surprised. A lot of people assumed I was a guy just because of the name Daddy
Oh yeah,
Crow.
no, I don't deny it. I don't doubt it at all.
Yeah.
Like I did too until I figured it out that. Well, no, not even because I knew you were Mommy Crow, and I was like, oh, Mommy Crow, that means he's the girl, right?
Okay. You knew me as Mommy Crow first, and
well, knew of you. I knew of you first. Then I
I think there's also that there's the whole like, well, at least in the gaming community, like a lot of people follow the rule of it's a guy unless they say otherwise.
Right. That's a pretty solid rule. That's a pretty solid rule.
But it's interesting. Ever since I changed my name to Mommy Crow, people started making the mistake less. Like when I was
of course,
before people knew me as Mommy Crow. Some people still like some people still like assumed that I was a guy, but other people did assume I was a girl because of the name Mommy in my name. So I feel like to some extent IGN does actually contribute a little bit to what people's like
think you are,
what gender they think you are.
I think like because of this because of this experience, now whenever people call me he, I'm like, I don't mind. Like it's kind of amusing actually.
It's like I don't know. Wait, I don't. Dude, you know how I don't know if you had this thing, Sky, but when I was a kid, I really liked the idea of acting more like a boy. I don't know.
Same.
I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
Wait, same.
Yeah. I'm just like, is that did all girls have that thing where like they like to be a girl, like they like to be treated like or they want to act like a guy or something? I'm just like, because I'm wondering.
Wait, say that again?
No, because like, so I was pointing out how like when so Sky and I just mentioned how when we were kids, we really liked the idea of being treated
treated as guys,
not treated as guys, but acting like guys and acting like very tomboy kind of thing. I don't know if that's just a tomboy thing or if every girl had that thing.
Yeah, no, I think it's a.
I think it's dependent. I've definitely met.
Yeah,
I've definitely met both type of people for sure.
Yeah, but I think for me for sure, like I never really got along with the girl. At least in my primary school, because my primary school was co-ed, but my high school was all girls. So I think in like primary school, like I consistently hang out with the boys. Like the girls did not interest me. Like I was not interested in sitting around and talking. Like I wanted to play handball.
Same. I was like, oh, I don't want to sit there and just gossip with the girl. I want to play like tag. I want to play handball.
Yes, I remember during recess, like as soon as bell rang, like all the boys would just like bolt straight to the good handball spots, and like I followed suit.
Yeah, yeah, it's because in primary school, in primary school, I played a lot of tag, right? And the funny thing is, in primary school, I thought of handball as the lame game that the Asian boys played. I'm just like, oh, lame! I imagine not playing tag during break time. But then my high school did not have enough room to run around in, so we could only play handball. And I'm like, okay, handball's not bad. It's pretty fun.
But it's also, I guess, like you guys were co-ed. Yeah. Because I think for us, because I think for us, like we all just sit around. I mean, like in the later years, as I got my own phone, like I just ended up just sitting there on my phone on Discord, grinding background.
Same, cause like in my later years, we stopped because we moved to the senior campus. They don't have handball courts, so we couldn't play.
Oh no!
So that sucked. So in the end, we kind of just resorted to just sitting around during lunchtime, and I feel like I gained a lot of weight because of that.
Physical exercise is good, man.
Not anymore. I did start going gym and getting better, better fitness wise. But yeah, I'm like, that's part of the reason why I didn't want to go to an all-girls school was like I was scared of sitting around and doing nothing during lunch break. I wanted to play a sports because sports was really fun to me back then. So
because for me, all of my high school options were all girls schools.
Is it because your mum just wanted you to go to an all-girls school?
Yep.
Okay.
And I think because I think at the time, like she wanted me to be more, how do I say, normal, stereotypical.
Okay.
And like because I was hanging out with the boys all the time, and like I basically talked to no girls, and then she was like, "Well, you're not acting like a girl. Like you should act more like a girl." It is all girls school. And then
my dad thinks the same, but he doesn't complain. He's just like he just points it out, and I'm just like, yeah, and he's just like, okay.
Nice.
Nice.
I think for me, because I went to my mom is Christian. She wanted me to go to Catholic or Christian high school, and so I had the choice of either going to a private high school, like a private like Catholic high school, or go to a selective school. I chose a selective school, and I think, and like, so keep in mind I'm non-religious, but important to know that I'm non-religious because I had bad experiences with people with religion. So you can imagine I did not want to go to religious school at all.
Okay,
I didn't. I mean, I understand that it works for people, but I think for me, like, the circumstances happened. And it just didn't work out for me. So
yeah.
Yes, I wanted to go to non-religious. So probably the biggest reason, one of the biggest reasons I wanted to go to a selective school was because it was non-religious, but the biggest reason for because it's selective. Like, I worked my butt off for a test. I did this test. I got this far, and you're telling me you did not take up the offer.
Oh
So,
no. Oh.
yeah.
I think actually for me,
Yeah.
part of the reason I didn't want to go to an all-girls school was it's a very stupid reason. You probably laugh at me for it now, but
Okay,
because
let's hear it.
it was because I was scared I'd turn out gay.
Whoa!
Because it was all girls.
Whoa!
Is that a fear most people have?
When I was
It's
a
okay.
kid, when I was in primary school, yes, I was a kid, I was young, I didn't understand things back then. But the irony is, I feel like because I went to a co-ed school, I'm as gay as I could ever be. Like, compared to I feel like if I went to an all-girls school, I would not be this gay sometimes. Like, I feel like now that I went to a co-ed school, and
Maybe
I've
it's
seen
because
what...
you get to have a taste of both worlds, so you can make the comparison. You can go, okay, well, guys are nice in this way, but girls are also nice in this way.
Yeah, and then you get exposed to the amount of dumb shit guys here. I'm like, hey, girls are looking pretty nice now. No, I'm joking. I'm not like that. I still like guys are cute. Guys are 10 out of 10. Tomboys too, because you get the guy without getting the guy uwu, and since they still...
Wait, this is a big brain play. This is actually a big brain play. Because the thing is, like, you have to understand that males are treated differently by society, and like especially in childhood, like the things that you encounter as like in your childhood is vastly different, and so because of that, you always have that like distinct difference in like values and stuff, and so therefore, like if you get a tomboy, then you get all the stuff like, oh, maybe this girl likes sports, likes gaming and blah, but inherently she's still a girl.
Yeah.
That's the best part about it. That's the greatest part about tomboy. The greatest part is that she's very relatable.
Okay, I have this very stupid question for people who like tomboys, right?
Okay, let's hear it.
Does that mean low-key they're kind of gay? Because
No.
the girl's acting like a guy.
No, that's an overgeneralization of what a tomboy is.
Oh, okay,
I think so, yeah.
Okay,
I think so too, yeah. And I think it's also important to know that usually when we say gay, we mean like, yes, like
the PP.
Yeah, like we usually mean sexual preference, not just romantic preference. So it's.
But
it's like
anybody can be any personality type. Personalities aren't assigned to specific people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
True.
True.
True. You know what? Okay. Okay. You know what? That makes more sense. Where like you're liking people. Okay. You know.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why swinging different ways.
Speaking of non-straight things. Anyway, so I distinctly remember one time when I went on a music camp, and it's like an annual music camp. Like if you're in an ensemble, like you go to this like thing where like you just go there and you have activities but the majority of the time is spent rehearsing. And anyway, so I'm in my cabin. So I'm in my cabin with like 5 other people, and then so like this is like 11 p.m. we're like talking before we sleep. Anyway, for some reason or other, the topic of sexuality comes up. Everyone in the cabin is not straight except for this one girl, and then she say, and then I think she was like, talking about how like she feels like slightly like alienated because all the people that she was surrounded, or at least all the people that she was close to within our grade were all like not straight, and she was the only one who was like straight. And then we went to the whole talk it's like, yes, we're not straight, but it's okay. You are still our friend. It's okay. It's okay because you're still our friend, even though we do not share the same sexuality.
The irony, the roles have reversed.
Yeah.
The irony.
We're going past.
Actually, you know what I find interesting? How like, for example, if you sleep with someone of the opposite gender, it's considered unwholesome. But if you sleep with someone of the gender, even if you're both gay, yeah, it's wholesome. It's fine. Like,
I think that mostly stems from the fact that like it was kind of seen as a bad thing until recently, like in terms of
Okay.
society as a whole. So like people are more supportive of it.
I mean, sleeping with like actually just sleeping.
Oh,
in
you mean
bed
just
together.
normally
Like,
sleeping?
No, like yeah, no, like.
Oh, okay,
Like, not
okay.
like doing the thing.
Yeah,
like,
you said
actually,
sleeping.
like,
That's the first thing I
it's
went
like, okay,
to.
it's like we will
Oh,
share a bed.
Yeah,
I
You have
mean-
that
share a
half, I have this
bill.
half. Okay, let's
I mean-
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's why, cause like, no, I think that's why, because I think when it's opposite genders, it's just like, uh-oh, they might do the sex, you know? Look out.
Yeah, but if they're gay and they're the same gender, oh, it's fine.
I mean,
fine.
well, yeah, let's say if
Completely.
people know that, I think the same like assumption occurs. But if people
okay,
don't know that, because like, you know, usually when
okay.
that comes up, it's usually with like, oh, maybe people don't know you that well, so it's like that just doesn't come up. I'm pretty sure if like. If people know that two people were gay and they're just like in the same room together, they like make the same assumption.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
You know what makes sense, dude. Cause dude, I hate how the term sleeping together now refers to infers to you're doing
the thing.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
what if they really are just sleeping?
Yeah, like what if it's just okay? This is your side of the bed. This is my side of the bed. We will rest for the night.
Exactly. We are resting. We are not. I'm going to bed. Good night.
Yeah, that's just language.
Yeah, it's so annoying because like, okay, I'm going into my own private stuff. I'm sorry, but because obviously back when I was dating Alan, like, oh yeah, we've slept in the same bed, but I've never done the deed with him. So then every time I talk about it with our friends, I was just like, oh yeah,
Oh my god, you did.
yeah, they're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, so they're just like talking about it, and I randomly bring out, oh yeah, I slept in the same bed as Alan, and they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, what's so wrong about it? And he's just like, what? Aren't you too young? And I'm like, we didn't do anything, guys, stop. and then I hate how like nowadays sleeping in bed with someone means you bed them, like you actually do the deed with them. I'm like, no, we literally just slept. And then,
Yeah.
and I got into a huge argument. We're just like, no, sleeping in bed means you guys sleep. Like, go to sleep.
Well, that's the
Go
thing
to
though. Like,
sleep.
y'all are both right. Like, that's the thing. You guys are both right. It means both.
Yeah.
It's just nowadays in society, people get inferences from it. They're like, "Ooh, they did the
They did the thing. Like, no, we just slept in the same
I
bed.
I mean, that's a whole thing too. Like, what is it? Like, gossip is just how one of the most interesting things people talk about.
People love spreading.
Yeah,
tea,
there's you can't stop that, unfortunately.
Yeah. Obviously, like. It gets passed between groups. Like, even if you don't publicly say it, it gets passed around. Like, oh, you say, oh, keep it a secret, but it's probably gonna get passed around. Spill the tea, sis. I got plenty of tea to spill, but only to the close people. But yeah. Yo, we this whole podcast was just us derailing for 2 hours. Huh?
Yeah,
I mean,
sorry, guys.
I didn't have a topic anyway.
Oh,
Yeah,
we
that's
actually did have I think a couple of questions from the Discord actually,
Mhm.
and I think there was some questions asked up like towards the beginning.
Oh
as
yeah,
well, but
yeah,
we
you're
just-
actually right. Yeah, I do remember that throughout the week.
Yeah,
Wait,
but
what?
then the problem is but now the problem is we're already 20 minutes over time.
That's true. That's true. I mean, we can just keep going for 9 more minutes if you want, if we think we can answer.
Wait, what is it?
Excuse me. Some of these questions. I sneezed.
Okay,
Sorry.
okay.
And some of these questions. I'm so
That was
sorry.
such a loud sneeze.
I know.
Oh my
Are you
God.
okay?
Yeah, no, I'm fine.
Are you-
No, I always sneeze loud like that. It's just using that Discord nerfs me. But I think since I was talking and sneezing, it didn't nerf it.
Okay.
I was like, whoa, that was a big sneeze.
Yeah, I always sneeze that loud actually.
Okay. I mean, we could wait. Is it the one from Ella or?
There's two, I believe.
Yeah, Suta.
Oh. Wait, really two? Wait, the Leah question and Ella question.
Yeah.
Oh, well, for the Leah question, I believe we
Wait,
wanted
wait,
to
say the
answer that
question.
next-
Oh, okay.
No, I believe we wanted to answer that one next week because you said you wanted to invite someone from the EU server into podcast.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was originally gonna be the podcast beforehand, but
Obviously, because the update.
Yeah, well, yeah, update happened, and like the reason why it wasn't this week is because I got my new PC.
Oh yeah.
So that was a big thing for me. So hopefully it will be like next week. If hopefully I remember and plan it.
By next week there'll be another patch coming out.
Yeah,
though, yeah?
no, you're right. It'll be Genesis patch. That's too important to not talk about.
Maybe week after next week.
Maybe, yeah.
We're just going to push back and back as like derail more.
Yeah, I mean, it's circumstances. Not much we can do about that, unfortunately. You know.
And before it's gonna be by the time they get on, it's next year already.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but it's partially my fault too, you know.
No, it's fine.
I gotta.
We can have like one Elsa discussion week, and then next week will be like a filler week because there's no Elsa.
Yeah. Unfortunately, next week has to be also because Genesis is out the whole.
Yeah, this week was kind of like filler week kind of thing. We're just like, oh, let's just go ham with the conversation. We derailed.
Yeah. This week could have easily been guest, but I got my new PC, so I didn't have time to plan a guest type of stream. So.
It's alright. Week after next week, we got it. Ella says to save her question for later because it's okay. Then in that case, I feel like, is there any questions?
Is there another question that's shorter?
Because there's CMDR9 asked the question: does Raven sleep with his prosthetic arm, or can he disconnect it? But I think did we answer?
We answered that. In a reverse way. You're just like, what does he do with the arm? I think he hangs it over the bed.
I think he just sleeps on his back.
Yeah, I think he just
sleeps on the back, hangs the arm over over the bed. Not over the bed, but you know what I mean.
I think because especially because back sleeping is the most healthy sleeping position.
Yeah. So. Yeah, but imagine if Raymond wanted to cuddle with his significant other.
He had a one-handed. You can one-handed.
Oh.
Yeah. You
got one-handed. You got a one-handed.
Wait. So like, will he be lying on his left side or right side? Wait, or will he still be cuddling on his back?
He has to do with the. I mean, he can maybe do it on the.
Unless the girl sleeps on top of him.
I suppose that's a different thing. But yeah.
I read a fanfiction one time, and in the fanfiction there was a scene where Raven does cuddle Rena in bed, and I made it so that he like.
Oh, it was your fanfiction.
What?
You said you read a fanfiction.
Oh yeah. Oh no. I wrote. Yeah.
You say you wrote. Okay.
Yeah. I made it so that so he had his arm underneath her neck, and then he rested the Nassau arm on her waist.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a protective blanket in a way for her, and I just
20, but the arm was like 20 kilos.
Yeah, but you know how weighted blankets are a thing. Like I'm just
true.
Does it have that much weight? Well, that's a blanket compared to an arm.
Yeah, because the thing is the blanket shares the weight across the entire thing, whereas the arms just
weight distribution.
Well, yeah, true.
That's the reason why you can stand on nails. Fun fact.
Yeah. Or you can lie down on nails and it won't.
Oh, yeah.
Weight distribution.
Yeah. Oh, well, I hope. Well, let's just.
I mean, it's a fan fiction. It's fine.
Yeah. Let's just assume Rena didn't wake up from a nightmare from having something so heavy sleeping on her while she was sleeping. Okay, let's just forget about that. Actually, how would Rena sleep? Because you know how elf ears are pointing out. Oh wait, they're probably
on the back. Yeah, just on the back.
I mean, elf ears probably they're probably flexible enough to cartilage. Flexible
yeah. It's also an ear. It's not like a bone. Well, there's bones in there, but you know.
Imagine using your ear as like a weapon. Just start poking people's eyes out. Wait, I swear if the girl's hair kind of is a weapon. I've had so many cases where I'm sitting next to a guy in class and I turn my head and my ponytail just whacks them in the face and they just go like ah.
It hurts.
Actually, yeah, it hurts. Yeah, media knows.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, media knows from experience.
What?
But do you know? Yeah, you've been whacked in the face by a girl's hair before, yeah, media.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yes, I'm like. Media speaking from experience.
Yeah, that's what I say. You take a, I mean, that's essentially what I forget what they're called, but like imagine being hit by a broom with one strand of the broom versus the normal strand. That's the same thing.
Yeah.
Dude,
you build up enough small little things, it's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
It's so funny when I watched a girl in front of me turn her head, and her hair just completely whips the guy's face behind her.
Yeah, the momentum too. That's that's energy. That's pure energy.
And then the guy behind her just go ah. It's so funny. It's always funny seeing that happen. She just turns around and be like, "Oh, sorry," and when she turns around, she whips her hair back again as well. And she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Guys, Leah, we derailed again.
I'm sorry. But yeah, sorry to all the guys who have to deal with the girls' hair, okay? There's a lot you need to deal with.
Yeah.
But I swear, dude, not gonna lie, my favorite, I think I have a thing for guys with long hair. I think because of Nova Imperator.
Wait, same.
Well,
Wait,
I
not for the same reason, but like, I don't know.
I don't know, for me, I blame Nova Imperator.
Wait, say that again? I zoned out a little bit.
I was just saying, I have a thing for guys with long hair.
Oh, okay.
It's same. Like, I'm thinking the first character for me regarding that was Nova.
Yeah.
And then I realized as I played other games, a lot of the guys that I liked also had long hair, and I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
What? Oh, by the way, did you know that in pretty much every single Chinese BL novel, like all the guys have pretty much all the guys have long hair.
Yeah, I'm like
Chinese BL novel.
But I feel like girls who are like anime fans definitely like that, or like anime culture, kind of definitely like that. Something I noticed.
Okay, it's very interesting because you know how like even though China is one of the most homophobic countries out there, right?
Yes.
Yet despite that, there's so much BL content that comes from China. Like even in Genshin. Even get me, how you freaking throws a child and suddenly shit at us in our face.
I think that I think that makes sense because the more you stop something from happening, the more it wants to happen. Like the more the power of rebellion is very strong. The power of rebellion is very, very powerful.
Well,
that
true,
makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
The more you hold something back, it's gonna build.
True, that makes a lot of sense. Cause oh my gosh, cause like. God damn, me how you threw that child's only ship at my face. I'm like, okay, I gotta accept this now. I can't say no to this anymore.
They also know it sells. Yeah.
Yeah, it sells. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I think especially in recent years, I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I got into the yaoi fandom or it's just like I feel like yaoi ships has just become so much more popular over the years. I don't know if it's just me being placebo because I got into yaoi.
It relies on that just kind of like it's so unallowed that like the people when they see it happen they'll go in super hard on it. Like that's the thing.
Yeah, they're like
you target a dedicated group of people when you target things like that like you get so much benefit out of it.
Yeah.
If you're like selling products, obviously.
Yeah, it makes sense, but I approve, Miho. Keep at it. Keep at it, man.
Because you also have less competition too. You know.
How so? As in like.
If you're doing like, for example, like yaoi stuff versus like straight things, there's a lot of just straight up straight things. But when it comes to yaoi stuff, it's a smaller market.
True.
So you have less competition.
True.
Like so, and you sell better because you have less competition.
Yeah, true. Even Honkai Impact, all the ships are gay.
I mean, like almost all the characters are gay.
Yeah,
I mean, not gay. Like all the
girls
characters are female. You know, girls. Yeah, because like they're only able.
Yeah.
It's like if you got a not an anime game, like a game where like the only characters are guys.
Yeah. Actually, the funny thing is, you know, even in Ultimate games, I still ship the guys with each other.
Ship the guys with each other instead of shipping them with yourself.
Wait, have you seen that? Have you heard of that anime Kiss Him Not Me?
Oh yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah, like the girl's a massive like Fujoshi, and then she ships because there's two guys trying to go for her, but she wants them to get together.
Yeah. It's a reverse harem, and the guys like the girl, but the girl wants the guys to like each other because she loves the guy on guy ship, and then that's just the whole plot. Yeah, I'm like 10 out of 10. Relatable. What a relatable anime.
I mean, I'm not sure about shipping guys in real life, but like.
Yeah.
I'm shipping like real life guys together, but like.
Yeah. You gotta respect boundaries in the country. But if it's a fictional one, it's just like right up my alley.
Shipping guys together.
Yeah.
It's also like what is it? Freaking like the stuff you guys are into are obviously gonna be like more prevalent in your lives compared to like other people as well. Because like y'all are like super into like the yaoi stuff, things like that. So you're gonna like notice those things more impactfully than like someone like me that just like I'll see something like that's like yaoi or whatever, and I'll just like pass it by. Like it means nothing to me. It literally means nothing to me. But it definitely means a lot more to y'all because y'all are into it. You know.
Okay, Amelia. Say Raiden. She likes watching yaoi. She wants to watch yaoi.
No.
Just gotta bait, just trying everything to bait media into. Okay, when I was younger, I hated yaoi as well. Okay, I wanted nothing of it. My cousin, every day I visit her house, she sends me Eren X Levi Yaoi every day, some like BDSM shit. And I'm like, what is going on here? And then I hated it. I thought Yaoi was weird. But then she introduced me to Raven Yaoi, and I'm like,
I love that.
Oh my god.
This is kind of good. And then from then on, I've never been the same.
Also, also remember, it's definitely more of a girl thing to like yaoi. Like,
yeah,
it's probably only a guy thing if they're if they're gay themselves.
Interestingly enough, at my tutoring place, Dr. Do, for some reason our class conversation derailed to Yaoi and Yuri in class.
And in class. Oh my.
With the teacher there.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
So in that class, there was only 2 girls, me and this other girl. And then we would talk about this conversation. The girl was like, they were like, what the heck? This is disgusting. And then I was just like, I was just defending. It was like, it's completely normal. It's like how guys like girl on girl and girls like guy on guy. I think
yeah, like a lot of guys like girl on girl stuff.
Yeah. And girls just like guy on guy. It's interesting. The human brain is. I wonder what goes on in there sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but imagine having an intellectual discussion about yaoi and yuri.
I mean, what is it? What is it? One time my friends had a conversation. I unfortunately was not in it, and that topic is banned at the college I went to now. But okay. I don't know. Maybe we can talk about that one day. I feel like we have like touched upon this topic. The topic was, are traps gay? Essentially. That topic is now banned in my college to talk about. You're not allowed to talk about that because the conversation apparently got so heated. I was not in the conversation. I just heard tales about it. I heard tales about it, but maybe one day we could. Maybe one day we can talk about that.
Actually, we need to write this down. We need to write this down as a podcast question. Are traps gay?
Yeah.
You know,
because I definitely have my own opinions on it as well.
Okay, it's probably.
I think everybody does because it's very interesting.
We'll talk about it some other podcast. I wrote it down in our questions, but I feel like it's got to be a very it's very involved. Maybe we'll have Kigo there for it because I think Kigo was there when they talked about it. Like Kigo was the one who told me about the story. He was like, "Yeah, you're not allowed to ask that question. If you ask that question, like they're gonna be like, no, you're not allowed to talk about it." It just got too. Shut up!
It just got too heated. It just got too heated.
Whatever your opinion, shut up.
We just can't talk about it. It will just take too long.
That's so funny. Okay, fair enough. Wait, this
half an hour over time. Maybe we should wrap it up, and then if we want to talk afterwards, maybe we can like continue to hang out in like a non-podcast talk thing. But maybe we should.
Probably wrap it out. There's definitely be a conversation for another time. I'm thinking about that conversation now. I can't think of an answer, so I have to think about it for another time. All right. Yeah. So. Thank you guys. Should I wrap it up or do you want to wrap it up?
Go ahead. I mean, it was mostly about Australian education, so.
Sorry, guys.
I think I talked the least in this episode because of that. This is fine. It's fine.
We do, right? We just sidetracked from the get-go. I'm sorry, guys.
This is like that one episode of do you remember the first time we did a podcast with Zach, and then we just like derailed.
We're back to those days. I mean, those podcasts were like 3 hours long or something.
Yeah.
What were you guys still talking about?
Yeah, that's why we put a hard time limit. Well, not hard time limit, a time limit.
Yeah, even now we still went past. Oh well, don't worry. Okay, we're wrapping it up now. Okay. Alright. Yeah. Anyways, thank you guys for listening to our extra long 2.5 hours podcast. Hey, we're matching the name. 2.5 hours, 2.5 crows.
That's true.
Wow.
Very true.
Unintentional. But yeah, it was a lot of fun talking about the education system and yaoi and yuri and girls and guys and why can't guys just talk normally in chat kind of thing. But yeah, I had a lot of fun today. It was good talk. Next week we'll probably talk about whatever else an update there is. And then week after, hopefully eventually we'll talk about the EU update stuff and get to the questions that were in our chat. Sitting there for weeks on end now. Yeah.
Yeah, we will get to it eventually.
Surely.
Eventually.
Surely. Sidetracking on questions like we sidetrack on our podcast. God dang. just another episode of 2.5 crows. But yeah. Thank you guys for listening. Any closing remarks from Media or Sky?
Did we get a higher? Did we get a higher view count than usual?
I swear. I swear.
I mean, it might be because I was also playing in the background because you guys were just talking. I was just
Maybe.
like, I'll just play some PO.
Maybe.
So I don't know. Maybe I'll try doing it next time too.
Yeah, I was worried because I'm like, why are people listening to us talk about education? I thought this would be boring for them, but I feel like if anything, it's giving everyone PTSD. If anything, Vietnam War flashback intensifies.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's it from us. Thank you guys for watching, and
Yep.
yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Want to do that?
Oh, yeah. Did you do it? Did you forget how I actuate these?
Wait, yo, no, we didn't do the bye thing.
Yeah, no, but you're supposed to start it as the person.
Yeah.
You take a deep breath and then you do it.
I always wait for media to talk. I'll start it just because media always starts it.
Okay. Go ahead. Do you want me to do it this time, or you can do it?
No, I'll do it.
Okay.
Alright, anyways, thank you guys for watching. See you guys next week.
Bye.